talk to Gage.
You're just like this, bro. You're just like, alright, let's do it. Hello, welcome.
What's up, YouTube?
No.
Alright. Wait, do I have the right tiers? S, A, B, C, D, and F? Okay, so without naming them, I do legitimately think that S tier is like, that's like peak. You know?
A tier's great.
A tier is like masterpiece
No,
or
no,
great.
no, not
really
that.
good, amazing. It's amazing. B tier is good or like I liked it. I had a positive experience, but it's, you know, not as strong. C tier, usually this is mid.
Yeah.
This is usually the mid category or mixed, mid to mixed. D, usually bad.
Not for me.
Or not for me. And then F tier is
off.
like
Frick off.
the worst.
It's frick off.
It doesn't get worse than this.
It's frick off.
Okay.
Let's just start. I mean, we're starting strong.
We're starting strong. 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, it's S tier.
It's S tier. That's definitely like probably one of the best movies I've like ever seen in my entire life.
It's one of those movies objectively you just can't find a flaw in it.
It's really short too, short and sweet to the point. Very, very good. We might reference this movie later on with like another movie. Next up is The Incredible Shrinking Man. This movie was cool. I
think it's B tier.
I was impressed with the visuals for sure.
I think it's a B tier movie.
I do think it's a B tier movie.
I like the dark approach and how it's not like a schlocky 50s movie. It's a very different take.
Yeah, and I was genuinely impressed with how they did a lot of the visuals. So that one's pretty
Jack
good.
Arnold.
Jack Arnold. Yeah, we like Jack Arnold. He's the director of a lot of these movies. Monster on the Campus.
That's a C tier movie.
Yeah.
It's mid.
Yeah, it's C tier. It's not great. It's not horrible. I've seen worse from this era. We're going to talk about that, but
very soon.
It was just fine. I thought the scene with the bug was the coolest moment.
Oh yeah, it did have a bug.
Next up is Psycho. All right. I will admit, I even admitted this to Gavin. I think of all the movies on here, there's a few that I think if I rewatch them, my opinion would most likely go up. And Psycho is one of those where I think if I watched it again, it would go up. But as of right now, C tier. All right, this is an important moment to mention that these are just my personal opinions because people love that movie. People freaking love Psycho. It's like a classic. But based on my own experience, how I felt about this thing when I watched it, I just thought I was a little mixed on it. I was a little mixed. It wasn't mid, but I was mixed.
Well, then why do you put in? Okay.
Because C tier. Next up is The Lost World. This movie slaps, bro. That's B tier. Lost World is really cool. It's like public domain now because it's like over 100 years old.
No, next year.
Next year. Because it was 1924, I think.
No, 25.
1925. All right. I forgot what year it was.
So next year.
Next year. Yeah, literally as of tomorrow, it will be like in the year where it'll be 100 years old. Cool movie. Stop motion's incredible. I still think it's really cool. We watched like the longest version we could find of it.
It's like an hour and a half either way.
On YouTube, because you can just pull it up and watch it on YouTube now because it's public domain. So that one's pretty good. Next up is Monolith Monsters.
That's a D tier.
That's D tier. That one, it's like...
Wait, this is the...
Look.
Wait, it's perfect.
Wait, yeah, you got it.
Big rocks v saltwater. If that sounds interesting, watch this movie.
It's bad. Just conceptually, it's somewhat scary what's happening, but it's just dumb. It's too dumb.
When I was going into it, I thought, are the creatures like rocks themselves? Like the creatures?
Yeah, because it's like monolith monsters, but no, it's just rocks that are like endlessly growing when they hit water, which like there's some cool ideas in there, but I just feel like it was just very dumb overall.
It's stupid.
Next up is The Pit and the Pendulum. You remember this one?
Dude, was that last year?
No, that was this year. Definitely this year.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a D-tier movie.
I agree. I don't hate it, but
I feel like it's controversial.
I thought it was incredibly boring and then kind of a nothing burger movie, at least to me personally.
The end part where the pendulum's actually there is cool.
The end, that was what I was going to say, is that the redeeming quality here is I think the final scene and the final monologue was pretty good, but yeah, probably D tier. Next is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I think it's a hot take. I think it's B tier.
Almost S tier, but I gotta give it A tier.
I'd do B tier.
I think 2001's really good. This is like the movie that got me like wanting to watch more movies with you. Like this was the movie that got me hyped. Like, dude, I gotta watch more movies with you.
Why was it that movie?
It's kind of long. It's
2.5
definitely
hours.
slow. It's a slow burn, but it's a good slow burn. And it's like visually probably the most amazing set design in any movie I've ever seen. I mean, you can agree with that, right? Like, come on. We can't even figure out how they did this stuff. Like, it's actually incredible. It's a good movie. I like it. Next up is Christmas Carol. This
B-tier.
one's got to be a B tier. I agree.
That's the best Christmas Carol adaptation out there.
I agree. It cuts the fluff. You know, I think the Jim Carrey version is probably more entertaining, but this one is like the true, straightforward story.
It's just like,
and it was better that way.
It's nice. It's short. Like, I feel like most of these feel like 3-hour movies, but this is like an hour 20.
I'm gonna be honest though.
Dude, why is that not an F tier?
It barely gets into D tier. Let's put it that way. This is like a 1-star movie to me. I think most of the movie is like almost unwatchable. I personally found it to be that way. I found the jokes to be very repetitive and kind of just not very funny. It was kind of just weird. But I will say what kind of slightly elevated it is there's a few moments where they really go down the parody route because it's a parody of Paranormal Activity. And it is funny. Like, there's a moment where they're just sitting like at their table and like stuff's flying around the room. Like, they go to grab their coffee and like the ghost just throws it across the room. And then they start reacting like, oh, I'm gonna go to the store now. And then like something else breaks and you're like, can you buy some of this? And like whatever it is, it was funny. I like that. And then the dude from First Reformed's in here, and I actually thought he was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, dude. He was like this pastor dude, but he was so over the top. It was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hate this movie, but it's definitely not good. Next up is A Man Called Otto.
C tier.
I agree. I think that was I was mixed.
It's Oscar bait.
I honestly don't know if I can disagree with that on this one.
The only thing I like was
Anus. That movie was fantastic.
I think the cat was pretty cute, but that's about it.
I liked Otto, but I will admit, dude,
Literally, the whole
right,
movie is just a guy trying to kill himself, but he can't because of his annoying neighbors.
See, right in this, I didn't even remember that, if I'm being honest. This is a movie that I've somehow forgotten a lot about, and I feel like that kind of represents a lot of my experience with it.
It's just like, it's kind of like a rinse repeat at that point a little bit.
Yeah. Next up is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, hot take incoming. DEFCON 5, it is
Dude.
going down.
All right, we're at the era we're about to, because I just let Tiermaker organize all this just based on how it was. So we have a lot of Elm Street coming up.
Hey, I've seen most of them, so
Elm Street 1,
B tier.
I want to make this quick. I don't want to stick on this too long. But the first movie I watched, and I was like, I liked it, but I was like, am I missing something? I feel like I didn't like it the way I was supposed to. And I watched it again, and I was like, no, I still don't. It doesn't hit. Like, it just doesn't hit me
The beginning
personally.
slaps, like, hard.
I think there are some moments that are really cool, but if I'm being honest, I think it's... I think it's C tier.
No. Now I'm joining the crowd. That's not good.
Come on, you know you don't put in B tier.
I give 3.5 on Letterboxd. It's a B tier movie.
Oh, dang. Well, I think it's C. I'm
No way.
only because I'm mixed. I just never end up liking it like I want to. I like other ones in the franchise more. Namely, we're right here. We're going to jump ahead, just skip one, right here to Elm Street 2.
That's A tier.
That one's B tier.
I hate it.
It's not incredible, but this is crazy. I know, guys, this is crazy, but I think Elm Street 2 is better than 1. You agree with that, though?
Yeah, but I think Elm Street 2 is
on.
A tier.
Come on. I don't love most of these movies, but I know it's crazy. I don't dislike the first one. I'm just mixed on it. It never ends up clicking with me like I want it to. So that's where that one's going. And Elm Street 2 is B.
Oh, now we
Elm
got
Street Warriors. Probably C. Probably also C. Again, it's just
I genuinely think that movie is overrated.
it is one of the most overhyped horror movies I've ever seen. It's good. In ways, it has good moments, and some of the moments are just as good as like the best of like 1 and 2, you know, like. But I don't know. It's kind of goofy, kind of campy, but not. It's just weird.
I think my problem is that Freddy Krueger's in like 3 or 4 scenes in the whole movie.
He's not in it enough. I agree. It just is not what I really wanted. I guess I just didn't get into it. Elm Street 4 though, probably B tier. And by the way, these tiers, I'm not organizing these like within the tier, like high B and low B. I'm not doing that. That's too much. But this is probably above 2. Like Elm Street 4 is probably my favorite in the series. I just thought it was the most fun and had the most entertaining, cool moments that engaged me personally. So I like this one. This one's pretty good. It's probably my favorite. Probably not the best, but it's my favorite. And I like the backstory to it as well. Elm Street 5, I don't hate it. I think it's C tier. I think
the one with Chef Kruger, I think.
All those moments I like. I just think that the end definitely goes too far into like, this is really cringe territory. I don't hate it though. I really don't even dislike it. I would rewatch that one probably before I'd rewatch 1 and 3 and see now I'm actually dead in the comments.
I think you lost all your subscribers.
I just lost all the subscribers for that one.
Wait, why is Freddy's Dead not in the lineup? I guess that's just gone.
I think it's in here, but it's just not like alphabetically. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Next up is Quiet Place Day One. My favorite audiobook I listened to this year.
It's quiet.
It's B tier, but this movie, I basically just listened to it. I watched it at a drive-in theater, which I haven't been to a drive-in forever. And it's a dark movie, and they started it when it wasn't like super dark at night, so I couldn't really see it that well. So I really don't know what happened. I was kind of just listening to the movie.
But it's quiet.
But it's a quiet movie, so I don't know. So just to be, I'm pretty sure I would give B tier because I kind of liked what I was hearing about the story. It sounded pretty good, so probably gonna give that B tier. Next is A Real Pain. This movie slapped. I'm giving that A tier. A Real Pain was it'll go down in history as the movie I watched the day I got married. This was me and Kylie's first like honeymoon movie that we watched.
Probably should have just watched it with me.
It was really good. I think I've been saying Gabe would love this movie. It's just kind of a vibe movie. It's a movie about like these two kind of, distant family members learning to like express themselves, and they're very different personalities, but it's still just so entertaining. So I thought that was incredible. Definitely one of my favorites of this year. Next is Adopt a Highway.
A tier.
That's an A tier.
That's the one. That movie is way too good.
It's really good. Me and Gabe really liked it. It's one of those movies that stuck with me. I kept thinking about it. We watched it again, and I was like, I think it's going to be S tier. It wasn't quite S tier for me, but it was still so close.
It's so good.
It's so good. I think it's highly underrated. It's directed. It's directed by the guy.
The main character in Upgrade.
Directed this movie. Yeah, which we're going to talk about that.
His directorial debut.
Yeah, and he directed that, and it's really good.
It's short. It's like an hour 20.
Yeah, not that long. Ethan Hawke is the bomb. This is one of my favorite Ethan Hawke performances, for sure.
Just seeing him with the trash bag over his shoulder,
it's the best. It's good.
Best scene
it's underrated. That's like one of the most like obscure movies that I actually think people should watch.
Yeah, if I could recommend one movie that's like underrated, it's that.
It's that.
Next
is Affliction. This is part of the Paul Schrader binge I've been doing this year. This one's A tier. Almost B, but ultimately I definitely thought about this movie quite a bit. You liked it. I mean, what'd you give it?
I give 3.5.
3.5. So you went B. I thought I gotta rewatch this. It's a perfect winter movie to watch, so I highly recommend it during that season.
It's not a Christmas movie, but it is
not a Christmas movie. It was cool. The main character is sort of like battling, his past of like being, having this like really bad father figure, is kind of abusive and violent and stuff. And then, it's sort of him slowly descending into like kind of losing it. Yeah, kind of becoming that. And I feel like if that sounds like it, you would relate to it, you should watch it, because nothing else I say is going to convince you of it, because it's still a movie I need to think about more, I think.
The only thing I didn't like is the whole murder mystery plot point. That was just like, I wasn't a big fan of it.
That's definitely a part of it. Next is Alien Romulus. That's definitely easy A tier. Yeah. Romulus was extremely good. Visually, it was incredible. I'm so happy that it's like a big budget movie today that used practical effects. It looked incredible. I can't wait to rewatch it on 4K. That's one of the best of the year, easily. Next up is All Hallows Eve. I have to give it C tier.
You gotta understand, bro. These movies are very controversial.
You gotta follow me, guys. All Hallows Eve is basically an anthology. It's a collection of short films from Damien Leone, who went on to direct the Terrifier movies, which we will talk about those later. And so this movie, it just takes forever. I'm not really into all the segments of it, but I will say the last one, which is the original Terrifier short, best moment of the movie, best segment. It was actually really cool. I like that.
But it's still C tier.
Yeah, because overall it just took forever and I just wasn't interested or engaged.
Wait, I want to say, are any of the other shorts on here?
No, I didn't.
So you better talk about each one then.
I thought the second one, I think was made up for this movie. I can't find it anywhere else. I don't even know what it was called. But the first one was Ninth Circle, and that one was it was fine. It was just had cool practical effects. That's what Damien Leone's good at. But yeah, I like the third short film the most. But then is a film hiding in there as well about Art the Clown basically coming out of the TV. And I will say, I think it should have been developed more. But it was pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was kind of terrifying thinking.
They come out of your TV?
Yeah, they come out of TV. There's some cool moments. It's almost D tier for me, but it's enough to keep it up in C tier with those interesting ideas. Next is Arachnophobia. That's easy B tier. I don't like the way they portray spiders in this, but if I just accept the fact that it's just kind of like spiders going, crazy, being violent, trying to kill people, it's actually really good. It feels like a Spielberg movie in that it has some whimsy to it, some fun characters. I liked it. It was a fun movie. It had some cool, very impressive shots where it's like freaking like tracking with a spider on the ground, like dodging fire. It was pretty cool. It's maybe even almost A tier, but it was a high B for me. Oh, we got Back to the Future, bro. All right, hold on.
I'm way out of order.
They're out of order. Let's do it in order. Back to the Future Part 1.
It's an S tier.
It's S tier. That's one of the best movies ever made. It's timeless. It's always going to be one of the best movies ever created. Robert Zemeckis is probably his best movie, maybe objectively.
Yeah.
I like Forrest Gump maybe a little bit more.
Most rewatchable.
It's just a good story. Next one. All right, I know most people would also say this is S tier. For me, though, it's like...
Part 2.
If I really was splitting hairs, I would say it's S tier, but it is like as close to S tier as it can get. But
I would also give that one S tier, bro. Part 2 is my favorite.
It's like a 4.5. It's like the closest to S tiers we can get. Super good. It's like the most probably entertaining out of the three, maybe is how I'd word it. Just, it's a crazy ride. It's so enjoyable. And then next is Part 3.
It's a good movie.
It's
a B tier.
Here's the crazy thing. I hate the ending of this so much because I could imagine a better version of it so easily in my head. There's so much that's set up in the first two movies that should have been paid off in the end of this one with the, what's the main character's name? Is it Marty?
Yeah.
Marty? It is Marty. Marty McFly. Yeah.
Dude, how do you forget that?
I was pretty sure it was Marty. I just didn't want to say something like get cooked for it,
Yeah, like Chris.
like Chris, like Jason, where he and his girlfriend wanted to go in Marty's truck, and they wanted to just like lay in the truck bed and look at the stars. That was something that was set up in the first movie, and they never end up doing it. This movie should have ended with them looking up at the stars. And then going to Doc's timeline, which he's in the past, then he's also looking at the stars. And they have some kind of like the quote where, because Doc even says a quote in the end of 3, but it's really good. Whatever that was, he should have said that. That would have been peak. I would have been like on the floor. But considering all that,
it's a good movie. I
bring it down to B tier. That's how good the movie is, though. Like, the movie's so good, it's still not something I feel mixed about. I still like the movie a lot. It's just that ending was so freaking disappointing. Let's move on. Next is Backcountry. I like Backcountry a lot. That's B tier.
That's a C tier movie.
Gabriel did not like this. We watched it together. It's based on true story. Here's the thing.
It's bad.
Here's the thing.
It's not good.
I would describe this movie as a slow burn. Again, in a good way, to where it's just about this couple like being out in the woods, and it's like really slow, and it has this atmosphere to it that makes me never want to go in the woods ever again. And I'm terrified of bears after this because the bear scene is incredible. You gotta agree with that.
Yeah, I like that, but that was about it. Man.
I liked it. There was enough in there that made me really like that one. Beetlejuice 2, probably gonna go C tier with that. I was a little mixed. I thought visually it was really cool. I liked that, but
it still has the same vibe as Beetlejuice gives.
I don't have a lot of strong opinions about Beetlejuice, but I just thought the story was pulling itself too many directions, and the whole plot with Beetlejuice's like fiance, wife, whatever she was like totally forgotten about by the end.
The main problem that everyone talks about is that there's like 3-4 plot points all at once, and some get more screen time than others.
Yeah.
It's not very good. I think most people say that Michael Keaton came back good as Beetlejuice. I think he sounds kind of tired. Like, if you remember that first movie, he's kind of like crackhead energy. Like, he's kind of insane.
I felt like he was toned down, so. Yeah.
And also, I think it still captures the very weird vibe of Beetlejuice, mostly helped by it being directed by Tim Burton.
That's true. Next up is Black Swan. This is another movie. It's bordering on A and B, but I think if I rewatch it, it'd probably be A. But for now, I'm going to go with what I originally thought, being B tier. It reminds me a lot of Whiplash, and if you've seen either of these movies, you'll know what I mean. But it was good. Performances were good. It's Darren Aronofsky. He gets kind of creepy, and I like it when he does creepy stuff in his movies. But I just felt like I would prefer Whiplash overall as a movie. So I felt like it was just like kind of high B ultimately. Next up is Blair Witch Project. I watched this with my brothers and I rewatched it with Gabe.
Dang.
This is A tier. This is a really inspiring movie to me because it's such a low budget, but they made it work, and it's still pretty creepy.
Yeah, I think like most people are saying like, oh, you had to be there. Now it's not scary. I still think it's a very atmospheric movie, I think.
It's good. I like this one. There's alternate endings too, which was on like the Blu-ray, and those were pretty interesting.
There's some that were goofy though.
Yeah. Next is Blink Twice. This one.
People like it.
I could never decide on this one. It was always between C and D for me.
Is it really bad?
I don't think it's as bad as these, so I think ultimately I do C. It's not for me. It's not for me. Didn't really like it. I thought the ending was kind of goofy. I don't have much to say. This is not for me, I guess. Next is Blue Collar. This one's easily A tier. This is another Paul Schrader movie. It was actually his first movie.
Paul Schrader.
I know. I gotta talk about this just for a second. I don't want to skip over this. This one is super cool. All the actors are incredible, even though I didn't recognize any of them except the guy who played Parker from Alien. That was super cool seeing him. It's just an incredible story, bro. Like if you like, especially today, I feel like even like people are kind of fed up with the system, you know, like how work culture is. I feel like this is so good because it's like a union and there's like, you know, like some mystery in there, but like it's not a mystery movie. And then it has some like developments, and then ultimately ends on this note of like, wow, like they're kind of trapped. That's all I'm gonna say. It's really freaking good. Next is Broker.
B tier.
Dang.
It's the definition of B tier.
Agreed.
Dang. Agreed.
Me and Gabe wanted to love this movie.
I literally looked at the cover. I heard the plot synopsis. I was like,
S tier.
B S tier.
Yeah, disappointing. It was fine. It was cool. I liked it.
The road trip aspects were cool. The actual thing that it's talking about is really dark and kind of scary.
Yeah, but ultimately it wasn't for me, I guess.
It's too long.
But I did like it. It still was pretty decent. Next is Bullet Train. That one's that'd be high B for me. I think that was a really entertaining movie. I quite enjoyed it. But honestly, I haven't thought about it too much since I watched it earlier this year. Just a very entertaining, energetic movie for sure. Cat Returns is next.
That's B tier.
That's a B tier. Really cute movie. Probably the funniest Ghibli film. We've talked about this movie already on the channel a few times. So you can always go check out those videos if you want. Those ones are pretty good.
It's just a nice short adventure.
It's a nice short adventure. I like it.
Nothing really bad about it.
Next is American Psycho. This is going to be shocking to y'all because this seems like my type of movie, but I'm going to go B tier. I ended up not liking American Psycho as much as I was really hoping I would. I was so ready for this to be like S tier easily and one of my favorite movies I'd ever seen. Maybe I got to do a double take because it would be a high B. I don't know. To me, it just didn't do a whole lot for me. I thought maybe stylistically it was just not my thing. But I think the themage in there is really good. I will admit that. Next is Civil War. This is one of my favorites from this year. This is easily S tier for me. I thought Civil War is incredible. It always gets me to cry for some reason because it's so visceral, dude. Like it's such a strong movie. The sound design is incredible. I thought the story was really good. I I just think it's incredible. I know this is weird. Not a lot of people would put it this high, but legitimately one of my favorite movies like that I watched this year. And coming in right behind it, Come On is also S tier. Yep. That's probably one of the best A24 movies. One of my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performances. Yeah, and great theming. I love the style of it, the black and white, whatever, 4x3. I don't think it's quite 4x3, but it's in that different setup, and it just looked incredible. You know, I thought the story was awesome, acting was awesome. It's such a warm movie. Everyone should watch Come On. It's super good. Next is Annihilation. I was so mixed on this movie, and I was so sad about that because I adore Civil War, and this is from Alex Garland. I just didn't like Annihilation as much. It was going more the sci-fi route. I just didn't get what it was going for. I thought the visuals in some scenes were incredible, and I thought especially the visuals in the final act of the movie were really incredible looking, and I was like, whoa, like that's wild. But I just didn't really get it. The best scene, though, is the bear scene, because the bear scene is freaking terrifying. That is probably the scariest movie scene in a non-horror movie I've ever seen. And just look it up. Like, it is nightmare fuel. It still scares me, dude.
Are you sure Jacob Tutu might be a little too scary for you?
Next up is Conclave. I thought this was going to be higher for me, but this one would also be a B tier.
You notice how B tier is growing?
I know, there's a lot of B tiers. Conclave is incredible. It's probably objectively far better than B tier, but I liked it, but I will admit it wasn't a movie that really stuck with me very long after I watched it. I really think this is a situation where I need to do a double take. I remember last year our joke was that B tier was the rewatch tier, like you gotta rewatch whatever's in it. That's definitely how I would describe Conclave, but I thought the performances were incredible, and you know, I just thought maybe it dragged along maybe just slightly. But anyways, next is Corpse Bride. I like this movie. That was a B tier. That was a really good movie. I thought this is probably my favorite Tim Burton movie, and again, my wife Kylie was really helping us get into a lot of like Tim Burton, stop motion, all that type of, that pocket of movies. This one ended up really surprising me. I actually like Corpse Bride quite a bit. I like the style, I like the music. I think it's better than Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's probably spoiling that because it's coming later on. But anyways, it's pretty good. Next up is Critters.
C tier.
I agree. It's C tier. Didn't do a whole lot for me. Didn't really stick with me.
It's not.
I thought the Krites were kind of cool though.
They look cool. I feel like in this movie they didn't embrace the cheese.
The cheese as much, yeah.
As much as apparently like the second one, third one. It was more like more serious.
It wasn't as entertaining as I wanted.
It's almost like a Gremlins 1 to Gremlins 2 situation. It's like it changes apparently way later.
It was more sci-fi than I expected too.
And you know the freaking power of the night. The freaking alien turns into the what is it, the art and music artist.
Yeah, it was an interesting movie, but not one I was crazy about either. But next up is Darjeeling Limited. Easy S tier. That's like a top 10 for me. That's one of the best movies I saw this year, period. It's a movie about a spiritual journey and brothers, and that's me. That is me. That is me.
That is you.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is still my favorite West film, but this one is like neck and neck with Moonrise Kingdom, which I think we're also talking about that later. Next up is Baby Driver.
A tier.
Easy A tier.
That's a really good movie. That's
the best Edgar Wright movie I've seen.
I feel like it's gonna get you clapped at some point.
Really entertaining. Soundtrack was cool. It was one of the few movies that did the whole soundtrack being like a big part of the movie the best because it's a part of the story. Super entertaining. John Bernthal should have been in it more.
Was he slow?
Next is Deadpool Wolverine. Easy A tier. I watched this movie before I watched the first two, and I did watch the first two and this year, so they're in the list. But this is still the best one. I saw this with Kylie. I watched it with my wife before we were married, and this movie, again, being like my introduction to this character, I was like, wow, this is like a really fun movie. It's so funny. I was laughing so much throughout it. It's so entertaining. The action scenes are really quite incredible as well, and it's weird that I'm excited about a Marvel movie, but it legitimately got me excited about Marvel again for like a couple weeks, so that was pretty cool. Next up is Barbie.
Oh, we're both getting cooked for this one.
Barbie is going to be C.
Everyone loves this movie.
I can't quite put it down into D tier.
Set design's fantastic.
Set design's fantastic. Acting was good. Music numbers were cool. I get it, but I just felt like the core story here was way too on the nose.
It was so blunt. It's like the theme became its own plot point. And also, for a movie about Barbie, it's not for, like, kids at all for some reason. It's, like, very weird. And also, I just didn't think it was very funny.
Yeah, I didn't like this one a whole lot, but there are definitely things about it to like. It wasn't for me, and I thought the writing was just too on the nose. Next up is Dog Eat Dog. I expected not to like this, or I expected it to be lower ultimately, even though I was trying to tell myself it'd be good. Ultimately, it was pretty good. I'd give it B tier. What a unique movie. I felt like this was so... There's nothing quite like it, I feel like. Even though, like, when I describe it, people will be like, oh, it's like this and this. But just the way the acting and the story plays out, I'm like, this is just so interesting to me. You have Nicolas Cage and Willem Dafoe together, and they're basically these, like, ex-convicts that get out of prison. They're just trying to adapt to normal life, but they end up doing all these, like, crazy things. And there's definitely some themage in here, but it's definitely not the best, I feel like, in terms of that themage that Paul Schrader has done. But I just couldn't help but smile and think this movie was, like, really entertaining. So I'd definitely give it B tier. I really liked it.
Wait, when is that?
This is a Dream Scenario. I know the cover doesn't look anything like that, but Dream Scenario, probably going to go in A tier. It was S tier for a while for me, but then I really thought about it, and I was like, it wasn't as entertaining as I wanted it to be. But I thought what it's talking about was, like, so unique and cool, and I was very impressed with that aspect to it. And it is kind of funny that Nicolas Cage is in people's dreams. Like, I love that.
Everyone hates Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, just a really unique movie. I do recommend that one because there's not a whole lot quite like it. Next up is Eraserhead. That's easy A tier. Not quite S tier, but
I think I do a high B for that.
What a unique movie. It's super influential, I feel like. I definitely took a lot of inspiration from this movie, and I think it's really, really cool and weird and creepy and nothing quite like it. I think out of the 2 David Lynch movies I've seen so far, this is my favorite. I think it's really cool and maybe even a little underrated. Oh, dude, frick Bird Box, bro, frick that.
Bro, more like Bird Turd.
That's Bird Turd. Bird Box was boring. It was like
the message made no sense.
It was a 2-hour-long Walking Dead episode with, like, nothing going on.
Nothing as good as The Walking Dead, and also its message is, like, makes no sense for what's happening.
I don't even want to talk about this movie anymore. It's just not good.
It's terrible.
It's not good.
And going right next to it is Dying
of the Light. That's also D tier. Almost F tier. But I here's the thing.
Nicolas Cage is kind of good, kind of mixed. He's spotty.
This is the worst Paul Schrader movie so far at the binge. The reason why this is so low is because basically there's a better version of this movie that Paul edited together himself with just what he had available. That's called Dark. Haven't watched that yet, but basically this is a situation of studio interference where they took the movie and did their own thing with it, and they made it generic as freak. It probably wouldn't have been, like, one of the best movies of the year for me if it was his cut, Paul Schrader's cut, but I still think it was, like, for what we got, it was bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. We do quote it a lot, though.
Bernier.
What about Bernier? Oh, it's weird.
The whole thing where, like, he was gonna kill the guy. He has this, like, brain, like, he forgets his memories sometimes. He, like, forgets things.
There was definitely...
And he, like, goes to the guy to kill him, forgets, leaves, gets reminded, goes back and kills him.
Yeah, it's funny. It's weird. It could have been good, but for Grindstone, they're the ones who messed it up. Next up is Ex Machina, B tier.
We're gonna get a third row of B tiers, bro.
I wrestled with this one for a long time. If it was A tier or B tier, this one I think is B tier. It didn't stick with me as long as I hoped it would, but I do think this is like Conclave, where if I rewatched it, I think it could be A tier. I think it could go up, but just didn't really, like, click with me a whole lot. But it did have some pretty creepy stuff in it too. And the idea that it was actually them that were trapped and not the robot, I get that. Better than Annihilation.
Relatable.
Relatable. Better than Annihilation. Next up is Falling Down. That's easy A tier. That's a really good movie. This is kind of in that category of like Taxi Driver, King Comedy, Joker, where it's like this dude just loses it and just like goes on this rampage, and it's good. It's really, Michael Douglas is killing it. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really like the themage going on in here, and I think about this movie whenever I get stuck in traffic. Next is Fantastic Planet. That would be like high A tier. That'd be really high A tier. I think about this movie a lot, even now. And I watched it what feels like a month ago. It might have just been a few weeks now, if I'm being honest. But I think about this movie a lot. Visually, it's one of the most unique animated movies I've ever seen. I thought that the story and like the message in it was really got me thinking about some things in our real world.
Like Gage thinks dogs should vote now.
Dogs should vote. So it's a good movie. I was very happy with that one. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Man, that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago, but that's A tier. Really good, but I will say this is like the A tier movie that I feel like I was like,
I felt like I was bandwagoning.
Yeah, literally, I watched it, I was like, that's A tier, move on. And I just kind of moved on in my life, and I just don't think about it very much. But that's kind of weird, because it feels like it should be like my favorite movie ever. Like, it feels like it should be in my lane of what I like a lot. It's just a really freaking good movie. I like the sort of meta-ness to where he like talks to the camera sometimes, and I like the story and the themes, and I get why it's so highly regarded. It definitely deserves to be like one of the best movies of the 80s, because it really probably is. Next is Bottle Rocket. Dude, I almost want to just give it an A tier.
It's B tier though.
But it is B tier. This is such a funny movie. Me and Gabe, we had such a fun time watching this. It was so funny, weird. It's definitely low budget. It was Wes's first movie, which I watched a bunch of. I finished up his filmography this year. I actually made a video about that too. You can go watch.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. Yeah, it's super funny. It's super good. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely go check out that video. But I just thought Bottle Rocket was really charming, and I do think about that one a lot. Next up is, I believe, that is Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children.
Dang, that long ago, man.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I bought Gabriel the 4K of this movie, and we watched it together.
It's B tier.
And yeah, no, I think my memories of that movie were good. I liked it.
The final fight scene is absolutely awesome.
I never finished FF7, the game, but I got like to the final chunk of it and didn't finish it. But I still could understand the movie, and I thought it was really cool. I overall did like it, but it's definitely for the fans type of movie.
It's like the FNAF movie.
Next up is Freddy vs. Jason. This is my favorite Elm Street movie. It's A tier. I thought it was so entertaining. I like how Ronnie Yu does characters in his slasher movies, like Bride of Chucky. Talked about that last year. It's just so good. I thought the fight scenes were incredible. I thought it was really entertaining. I liked the characters. The kills were cool. It was just the most entertaining any of these movies have been to me. So that's it. I feel like it's probably A tier, you know?
Yeah. D.
First Purge is D. If you turn your... Look.
Let me explain.
Look.
Imagine The Purge, but instead of it being legal one night, it's just illegal. You just made a crime movie with more steps than you needed to.
If you turn your brain off and just watch the action, it's probably fine. More C tier, but
Makes no sense.
As a story and a follow-up to Election Year, this was a waste of time.
Crap, we're gonna have every Purge movie here.
Cat People, gosh dang, I do think about this movie sometimes, but I think it's C tier. I was mixed. I thought it was weird. I thought the practical effects were cool. It feels like Schrader trying to remake an old classic horror movie, and he just makes it weird. You know, he just ends up making it weird.
Dude, if you ever see a list of critters, Barbie and Cat People throw them next to each other.
I feel like Cat People could be higher than this, but I ultimately was just very unengaged by it, and I get what it's going for, but it just didn't work for me. Ooh. Freddy's Dead.
I think I gave it F tier. It's bad.
I think it is F tier. That's the first F tier. That's crazy.
The first frick off tier. It's just bad. It's just terrible.
It's pretty horrible. But the one thing I like is the quote where where he has like the power glove.
It's not a good scene.
It's not a good scene. It's horrible. It doesn't fit the character. But
It's like funny, but not because it was like a funny joke. It's just funny how stupid it is.
I quote that movie more than I should.
The freaking like, I beat my high score.
Yeah, but
It's cringe.
it's bad. It's like the most cringe Elm Street.
It's like a freaking cartoon episode.
It should have never have happened.
And the 3D at the end.
Yeah, it's stupid. Other people have talked about this movie ad nauseum, so just go watch those videos. It's horrible though.
What is this?
Gattaca is B tier.
Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a more recent one too.
Good.
Very. I'll be honest. It's an S tier idea.
It is S tier idea. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It's the same director did that movie In Time, which I actually kind of want to watch that. But I have a feeling it's in that same thing where the director has good ideas, but I feel like they never end up like being as good as a movie as I want them to be. But it was cool. Ethan Hawke was cool in it. Some of the story stuff was good. I just didn't connect to it, and I was kind of maybe slightly confused by some of the
there was the line
details.
where it was like, the reason I beat you at the game every time is because I didn't save energy for the way back.
That was cool.
That's freaking like jump back.
There's some moments in here that's cool, and I gotta respect the set design as well. Next up is Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, that's a B tier movie or C tier.
That was more C tier for me. Kind of forgettable. No one ever talks about this movie, and I kind of see why. But I will admit, these actors just acting together is pretty entertaining and fun. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as the original.
Oh, we have the highest D tier.
The Ginger Dead Man.
It's kind of like an iconic status in this house now.
It is iconic. We quote this one a lot, but it's D tier for sure.
It's top of D tier, though.
Besides a few quotes that are really funny.
Not the Pillsbury
Effing Doughboy. It's bad though. Like it's bad, and it's trying to be bad. So it's pretty. But see, it's not very good at being bad. Besides a few moments that were good. So
like we have the freaking like Herschel no recoil on shotgun moments.
Yeah, but this is a fun movie. I think it's kind of cute, but it's bad. Gladiator 2.
Glad to be.
When I left the theater, I thought it was A tier. As I've thought about it, I think it's like a high B. It's good. I did not really like the original. It's just so sad. I don't even know. That might be in here somewhere.
I don't really. Yeah, it probably is.
This one's good. It's entertaining. There's some cool lines. I thought some of the battles were really cool and entertaining. But again, I think it's one of those movies to where it sort of sacrifices the depth for just like the cool visuals and battles and stuff that aren't very realistic.
They kind of threw out the history part of it because I don't think they could ever do crap like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably what they were doing.
I don't think they put sharks in there.
But I liked it. I have to admit, I did like it. I thought Denzel was very good. And yeah, there was definitely some really cool things set up and, unfolded throughout the duration of the runtime. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. Just maybe not as good as the original to most people, for sure. Godzilla X Kong, dude, what a disappointing movie. I don't know why, but that's C tier. Like, it was, turn your brain off and enjoy it, but it's not as good as the original. And
they also shafted Godzilla for like...
Shafted,
he literally, of this like 2-hour movie, only has like 15 minutes of screen time.
Just did not like this one as much. I don't know what to say. Just didn't really like this one a whole lot. Next, though, is the original Godzilla, which
Was that last year?
So technically I've seen the American version, but I figured I'd throw it on here because I've never seen the
it's the classic.
The classic Japanese version. Oh, that's embarrassing.
That's good. People love that.
I know, people love it. I get the historical significance of it. I do.
Just think about how hard that Godzilla theme slaps.
I never like it as much as I hope I will. And rewatching this after watching -1 really made me
-1
sad.
Feels like a remake of the original.
-1 is the superior movie in my opinion.
Probably the superior movie out of all of them.
But this is just a dumb American talking about this movie. That's probably the real issue. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly's next. That one's going to be in C tier.
That's a very controversial.
Another controversial one. This is like the Western to a lot of people. I found it to be really too long. I like the characters though. They were interesting, and I think this is probably one of the best final acts of any movie I've ever seen. But it's still C tier because it was really, really slow.
And it's really long.
Didn't like it. And I liked some of the style of it too, which is with like the words coming on screen and stuff. There's more in there than I expected, and I kind of liked it. Next is the first Deadpool movie. That one's going to go in B tier. I liked it. Nowhere near as hype as the third one, but...
Gage sees, like, each movie has a Hugh Jackman Wolverine-sized hole in them.
Yep, it's missing Wolverine. It was good. It was really funny. One thing I don't like about movies is when there's, like, two storylines based on, like, one character, but it's just jumping through different points in time or jumping forward and back. I usually don't like that very much, and this is just one example of a movie that does do that, because it's doing the origin story thing. And it's meant to keep your attention, so I get why it's there. But, you know, it is what it is.
Do you know the whole story of how that actually was made? Where it was like they weren't going to make it because it was like radar and stuff, and then it actually got leaked out online, and it was a huge hit, and people loved it, and they decided to make it.
That's actually pretty cool. Next up is Green Room. That one's C tier for me. Gabriel seems to really like this one.
It's not that. It's just like I really am interested to rewatch it, knowing what actually is happening, because the practical effects are amazing. Actually,
yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. I just felt like I was kind of confused. But that's the thing with me and A24 horror. I like their dramas, but their horror movies tend to be like the best of like any movie I've ever seen, or like kind of C tier, maybe even D tier type movies.
I feel like if I understood what was happening, it'd be. I think I still gave it 3 stars because I don't think it's mid. Like,
I'm just shocked Patrick Stewart was like in this movie. That's
I was like the whole movie when he's doing some evil. Dr. Xavier. It's very visceral, bro. That dog eating the guy's throat. Nah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, it was killed a few hours, but I just didn't really get it. I guess
I'm very interested to rewatch it.
Groundhog Day.
The most S tier movie that I question is S tier.
Yeah, so I put it in A tier. Really funny, really good.
I feel like if we rewatch it, it'd go up to S tier again.
It might, because it was S tier for a minute. It's so funny. I mean, Bill Murray is like one of the best like comedy actors. You know, he's just kind of like, he has his own style of not really giving a crap what people think, and I like that. And I like the story going on, the themes going on here. It feels like it's very thought-provoking. You know, he's reliving the same day over and over. And
has fun with it at first.
Yeah, has fun at first, then he doesn't. And I feel like this is one of those movies that I could rewatch over and over and it would never get old. I feel like there's so much to it. Next up is, this one's Grown Ups. Kylie, this was our Kylie pick. This one's between C and D for me. Seeing what's in D tier.
Genre.
Yeah, I mean, seeing what's in D tier, I probably had more fun with it than D tier movies. It's probably in the C category for me.
Green Room and the Good and the Bad and the Ugly.
That's so bad.
It's Grown Ups.
That's so bad. I don't know. Did I give it D tier? I don't know, guys. I still don't know. It's C and D. It's between one of those for me. Because on the one hand, Adam Sandler's awesome, and Kevin James is really funny. And but just the comedy, it's probably more. It's more funny than The Haunted House. It's more enjoyable, but I don't know. I'm gonna do D tier. I'm just gonna move it down, guys.
Don't put it next to The Good and Bad and the Ugly and Godzilla.
I am gonna
and Nightmare on Elm Street.
I noticed that a lot of these movies get their comedy from just referencing other things, which sometimes can be kind of funny if done correctly. But if it's just like quippy, you know, like referring to someone as some kind of pop culture reference, I feel like it's just not as unique or not. It's kind of a lazy way maybe to do comedy. That's something that crossed my mind while I was watching it. But I don't know. It was entertaining enough. I didn't totally hate it or anything. Next up is the Beauty and the Beast live action remake.
Oh, I've seen that.
The core of the story is like, I think, always going to be good.
I've heard it's just like watch the original.
Yeah, it's really.
I've seen it, so I think it's C tier.
I agree. I really didn't hate it. I didn't even think it was particularly bad, but it's much longer than the original, and I have more nostalgia for that one. And I even rewatched that this year, even though it's not on this list because I tried not to do too many rewatches in here.
And the CGI, like, it's not as bad as like the Lion King original because it's a beast. It's not real, so it looks a little better. It makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a movie.
Just watch the original. I've never actually seen the original.
It was a movie about love.
Love and kindness. I've never seen the original.
I just didn't care.
Oh, The Happening.
Happening is straight B tier. This movie slaps. Like, I actually think this
Best
movie,
comedy of the
it is
year,
the
bro.
best unintentional comedy ever made. It is so funny.
I want to watch it now.
It is so funny.
You would buy it and keep it.
Yes, it is so... Like, it's such an enigma. There's nothing like this movie. Because I don't think it was made to be funny, but it's just so ridiculous that it actually ends up having... The whole movie's just so entertaining and funny to me, bro. The best scene being when they're out in the field and, like, they think the wind is what's killing them. Something related to what's in the air. And they're just standing in the middle of the field asking freaking Mark Wahlberg, like, what do we do? He's like, wait, guys, let me think. Hold up. He's like, be quiet. I gotta think. And they're just gonna sit there and die. It was so funny. This movie's awesome. Like, The Happening, I know it's horrible and everyone thinks it's like the most awful movie. I would rewatch this any day, especially over anything that's below it in C, D, and F. It's actually underrated and good. So that's what I think about that. Next up is Hardcore. This is from Paul Schrader. Top 3. That actually might be my second favorite Paul Schrader movie. Out of them all, I like this one a lot more than I even thought I was, if I'm being honest. I thought it was like... I like it when Paul Schrader... There's a few things I like when Paul Schrader does. I like it when he gets religious, when he gets dark, and when his movie takes place in winter. And this has like kind of all of that wrapped up into one. Surprisingly very compelling. And I thought the sort of subtext of why things go down the way that they do in this movie was really, really cool. So super cool. And yeah, I was highly engaged with this. I thought that it just had some good messages to it, and it ends on kind of like a thought-provoking dark note, like Blue Collar. Paul Schrader seems to be really good at doing that. Really good movie.
He's good at making us sad.
Next up is Here. I know most people ain't gonna like this, but I don't know. I related to it too much. I gotta go A tier. I thought it connecting to all these different time periods is really cool because it shows that there's like a legacy of people who've lived in these places, you know, all different types of people who've done different things, and, you know, culminating in, you know, what's his name? Tom Hanks. Anyways, continue the simulation. Yeah, Tom Hanks and the Robin Wright's characters, like that was...
She's just making me sick just thinking about it.
It was really heartwarming, and I don't know, I just found a lot to really connect to in that movie and enjoy. And, you know, when it started with dinosaurs, I was like, dang, bro, it's a Jurassic Park movie.
I just think the first half of the movie, they're just fricking around with the concept. I'm like, what the frick are you making this movie for?
It's like one camera shot for the whole movie, which is also cool.
I think it's B tier.
I think it's unique. I really liked it. It maybe is bordering on B tier, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was super cool. Oh, sweet Jesus. Heretic is S tier.
I do A, but...
Probably my favorite movie of this entire year, like from 2024.
It's controversial. It's love it or hate it, apparently.
Yeah, I love this movie. It was so cool. Everything with the girls acting, you know, the setup for them getting to the house, every single conversation is the most compelling written dialogue I've ever seen in my life. And then when he does the miracle of bringing someone to life, and then sort of the explanation of how that happens, you know, goes with the theming of like this, you can basically fool people into believing a lot of different things. But then the final note of the movie is kind of showing that miracles can happen, and there is sort of this mystical element to the movie and to life. Chef's kiss. Really freaking good. I think it's already underrated, but it's super good. Next up is Blade Runner 2049. Oh man, it's C tier. Dang. I didn't like this one too much. I thought the story kind of finagles around for a while and kind of goes nowhere. And it's a legacy sequel, and I don't really like those very much. Visually, that was the best part about the movie. It was visually like extremely beautiful to look at, but story-wise, I maybe have an idea of what they're going for with like it sort of playing itself like it's going to be like this chosen. It's like this character believes he's the chosen one, but then he's not, and that's kind of what it's going for. And it's like kind of the grim reality of, I don't know, his real life or something. But the movie's just so long, and I feel like that goes way over my head because it feels like the movie's hopping all over the place. So ultimately, that's probably C tier. Next is The Hobbit, the 70s version. I like this movie. This is B tier. This is like a great movie for kids to watch because it has like a really good message, and you know, maybe some of the music was weird and like weirdly placed, but I couldn't help but have a good time with it, and I like the style. The animation was really unique, so
it's C tier.
I really like this one. I really like this one. Next up is the original Blade Runner. Easily A tier. That movie is really cool. A really slow movie like 2049, but this one I felt like had purpose to it, to where it culminates in this moment with the one like bad android that meets his creator, and then the themes kind of with that, with like him meeting basically his god that created him, and then realizing that even that guy can't save him, and then his like descent into madness after that was so cool. And the movie is very much show, don't tell. Like, it doesn't really tell you what's going on all the time, but stuff is happening, and you're sort of like in this experience of understanding what's going on. It reminds me of Akira a lot, if I'm being honest, but yeah, super good. Next is Hot Fuzz. I don't want to dwell on this long. It's C tier.
No, that's an A tier movie.
I like it. It's a mystery movie. I don't find it compelling. The final chunk was very funny, though. Ultimately, just kind of C tier.
Dude, that's an A tier movie.
Boy and the Heron. We talked about this in the Ghibli list.
Tier.
That's S tier. We've talked about that in the Ghibli list, but that one's easily S tier. It's
the second best Ghibli movie.
It's just one of the best movies ever. Yeah. Period.
Dude, how much of this list do we have?
I'll see you in my dreams.
All for them old ones out there.
This is for the grandmas. This is such a grandma movie, dude. I was maybe not in the right headspace to watch it.
Is those for all the old people.
Reminds me of like daytime television. I couldn't get into it, but people seem to like it on Letterboxd. So do with that what you will. But I just didn't really like it.
How much of this? Wait, scroll down. How much of this list do we have?
Oh my gosh, we need to hurry. All right, TV Glow is really good. It's it's A tier. Probably not as high up as I originally thought it was when I first watched it, but it's still really good. Stylistically, it's beautiful. All right, Infested.
Oh, dude, I honestly think that might be A tier.
I'm gonna go B tier for now.
That's like high B.
I was very entertained. I like the style. The spiders are creepy.
If you have arachnophobia, do not watch this movie.
Like,
don't say what he made, because it's coming.
He's such a creative filmmaker. I'll say that. He comes up with the strangest ways to make movies, where this movie was shot over the period of like 13 years, and they were recording these actors actually growing up and getting older, which is super unique. So that was cool. I just felt like it didn't really have that was kind of it. That was its gimmick, and that was kind of all it had going for it, I felt like. Inside Out 2, B tier, just good Pixar. I liked it. Yeah. Next is the original Ghostbusters. That one is easy A tier, almost S tier, but really good, entertaining, classic, funny. Such a good time.
Just think of the freaking Bill Murray
quote
where he's just like, he slimed me.
It's such a feel-good movie. First Gladiator, I intend on rewatching this soon, but I've already kind of talked about it a little bit. I'm very much mixed.
People love
it. I didn't love it the first time. Gonna go C tier for now. Deadpool 2, B tier. I liked it. Yeah. Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind, probably S tier.
I want to watch that. Jim Carrey filmography need to be done.
Really dark, really like real, raw, good themes. I like it. It's really, really special. That's a good movie. Henry Sugar, this is such a good. Technically, it's a short film. It's like 40-some minutes though. A tier.
Is that the 3 more?
No, it's just that. Such a beautiful story, and it had other shorts that were kind of, advertised alongside of it. But speaking of this one alone, this one is so good.
Benedict Cumberbatch was master.
You can watch it on Netflix. It's so good. It's actually super good. Very stylistically good.
I think it won Best Short Film.
From Wes Anderson. Hereditary, that's another A tier. Really creepy. My brother Gavin built this one up a lot to me, saying it was like a movie that didn't rely on jump scares, and instead it was the visuals that were really terrifying, and he was absolutely right with that. Really scary movie, and honestly, I was like very disturbed afterward. Next up, Hotel Rwanda. I think it's D tier. It's based on a true story. Already doesn't really fit my vibe. I don't really like those very much.
Well, unless you're backcountry for some reason.
The story that happened here is like pretty messed up. But the problem is that this movie is just shot so boringly, and it's also like PG-13 when it's like genocide is going on. Like people like murdering an entire collective of people in this country. But it was just so, like, they didn't show us that enough. It was just this hotel.
They're like, don't worry, it's happening.
It's happening. We'd see, like a few seconds, but a footage of it happening on, like, a TV. But, it's PG-13, so they're not really going to show, like, how messed up it really was. So I just felt like it had no legs, no backbone. Fargo, one of the best written movies. It was so compelling. I think I like No Country for Old Men more, but Fargo might be better. And I thought the whole storyline of like greed and how it leads to everyone's downfall except the one character who wasn't really that way, being the pregnant mother. But she also kind of foils everything in the end, which is super cool. So yeah, it's incredible. Inherent Vice, this one is C tier. I think it's better than this, but it's kind of just not my thing type of movie. It's just not really something I like very much. It has a heavy thing of mystery going on. Most mystery movies aren't really my thing. But the best part, I think, is Joaquin Phoenix's performance and just his look. I think he's so cool and entertaining in this movie. But this movie lost me. I had no idea what was even going on by the end. I Am Mother.
The C tier, that could be S tier.
C tier.
The idea is absolutely brilliant.
Idea was so good.
The execution was so bad.
Such a boring movie.
What they should have done is, you remember the first, 10 minutes or 5 minutes where it's cutting when she's growing up?
Yeah.
That should have been the whole movie.
Yep, and it kind of goes to other directions, brings in another human, but it never goes anywhere, and ultimately it was very mid. It was very mid.
The twist wasn't that great. The practical effects, I will say the suit itself is cool.
Yeah. I'm very mixed on that one.
It's too long, too.
Insidious Chapter 3, C tier, agreed.
It's the best Insidious movie I've seen.
I agree.
I've only seen 2.
Best Insidious movie. Still not amazing. I thought all of the stuff that wasn't Insidious, and it was like a drama, was pretty good. It was compelling.
There's one scare that actually got me. And there's actually only one jump scare that actually got me. And if you'll remember, it was where the dad looks out the window and it's really high up and there's the dead body down there because they jumped out. And then he's like, come here. And then she looks out and there's someone just right there looking up. And that got me. I was not expecting that. Inception is next. Oh, you're gonna get cooked with this.
That'd be a high B.
The snipers are aiming at you now.
Inception's good. I think it's Chris Nolan's best movie, maybe.
Maybe.
Might be, but I don't like it as much as other people seem to. I'm also not a huge Christopher Nolan guy. Moving on. Irrational Man is B tier. They replay that one song way too many times in this movie. Feels like a video game. But it was cool though. It was cool. Joaquin was really good in this movie. I thought his character was really fun. The fact that he finds meaning, he's trying to find meaning in his life, and he finds it through basically trying to kill this one character. I was like,
you also just noticed that everyone in the movie is an absolute dirtbag.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks.
Yeah, everyone's pretty bad.
It's like Emma Stone's character is obsessed with Joaquin, and then Joaquin's obsessed with killing people, and then there's the one other lady who's just obsessed with Joaquin. Why does everyone want Joaquin?
I thought it could have been a lot better, but I'd say it's B tier. I still enjoyed this one. It was good. It Comes at Night.
The most artsy-fartsy
C tier in the world. C tier could probably be better than this.
I still give it 3 though.
It never came at night. Never did.
I still give it 3 because I appreciate what they were trying to do.
It came from outer space.
One of the better 50s movies.
I'm gonna go to
be
C
honest.
tier, even though I think it's probably a higher C tier.
When you actually see the creature at the end, it looks cool.
I appreciate that this movie was.
Jack Arnold.
I appreciate that this movie was doing the like alien sci-fi thing, but kind of in reverse. Instead of it being like an invader from space that was evil, it ends up being kind of sympathetic and not evil. And
Let me tell you,
had some good things.
this was a 50s movie. Should have got an 80s remake.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Even bring back the puppet spiders. Like,
Yeah. So it's a good one. I think it was a good C tier, if that makes sense.
okay, if this next one you have to agree, John Wick is A tier.
John Wick is B tier.
Frick you.
I liked it. Some moments were like best action ever, but
The
then
club,
it was kind of slow. The main villain reminds us of beat 'em ups. He looks like Woodhawker.
I was like, no, stop. Keanu's peak. We all know Keanu's peak.
Just didn't slap as hard as I expected. Joker Filet
Fillet of crap.
What an interesting movie that is definitely D tier. It's
Some
not
people give that S tier. Like, they really like it.
It's not good. It's such a confusing mess, but it was definitely interesting. So it's
one
probably
of those movies that shouldn't have gotten a sequel.
it's probably higher D tier, but I didn't like this one. Not for me. Very strange. I was very disappointed. Judas and the Black Messiah. I didn't know what people were saying in this movie half the time, but I enjoyed it. Probably B tier.
Daniel Kaluuya's always good.
Probably gonna get cooked for that one. 'Cause I get it. Most people do like that a lot. Juror number 2. This one was good.
No, it's B tier.
I gotta go A tier because ultimately,
The ending
what
was
this
fricked up.
yeah, there's like a final like 10 seconds kind of messed up the ending, and when you watch it, you might get what I'm saying. But I thought in its entirety, this movie was really compelling, and I thought the sort of like what it was showing in its theme and the story were really cool, and I thought it was like, wow.
It really
like,
wasn't trying to hide the thing.
Yeah, it wasn't hiding-
They're all
yeah.
really saying, yeah, it's flawed, but it's the only thing they have.
Yeah, and I really vibe with that. I thought it was an important movie and one of my favorites from this year. Next up is Killers of the Flower Moon.
The longest movie in the universe.
A tier, really, really good.
Don't want to rewatch it.
It's another one that, yeah, probably not, but it is one of those movies that's like, the greed of these people taking over from the Osage, that's what they're called. And it was really messed up. And it did not go the way I thought it was going to go, which
I will
was
say,
cool.
the 3 hours do feel justified, I think.
It does.
It's just too long.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I personally really liked it. I'd give that A tier. I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan.
I think it's degraded over time for me.
There's definitely a few moments in this movie where I was like, yes, like that's what I'm talking about. Like it reminds me of the classic Planet of the Apes movies, so that went a long way with me.
It's 2.5 hours.
It's super good, has good action, good story. I like the characters. They're never going to go in the direction I would want them to go, but
Where's my cyber world of apes?
with these sequels, but we'll see what happens.
Like, dude, if you really remember, that original movie was going to be a cyber world.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do it because the budget, it was back in the 60s.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for them to do that. I really want that. All right, Knives Out. Like I said, I'm not a mystery movie guy. Thought the acting and style was good, but probably going to be a C tier for me.
People were
Kung Fu Panda 4.
C tier.
I think we might do a double take when this comes. It might come back around once we see 5 and maybe 6. Maybe this movie will be.
Yet 6 movies.
Maybe this movie will be better, but I'm gonna go C tier for now. I'm very mixed on it.
Is it just me or does Aquafina play the same character?
La La Land.
Gage, you are gonna get destroyed.
I'm gonna go B tier.
Gage, I would put that in S tier.
I know this is like S tier for most people, but I don't know. For me, I think maybe it was just like the point in which I watched this movie.
You have to
think
rewatch it.
I think it's better than B, but me personally, I know it was supposed to subvert expectations. That was the point. I maybe just didn't like it.
Dude, did you
At the time I watched it.
the whole thing to where like they get together because and then like they're getting taken apart because their dreams are drifting them away?
It's like a high, very high B.
It's a high B. No, it's a high S, brother.
Bro. Wolf House, that's a B tier.
That's disappointing.
Visually incredible. This movie is wild looking. There's nothing like
I
it.
don't know what the frick is happening.
Probably took forever and so many artists to make that, but story-wise, and it does attempt a story, I'm just very confused. I don't know what's happening, but visually, I loved every second of this. Lady Bird, this was a while ago. I liked this one. This one was A tier. Lady Bird's really good. I think I would like that more if I rewatched it.
Is that Greta Gerwig?
I think about this movie a lot, and yeah, it was Greta.
Not a fan.
This is a movie that was very... It's like trying to be relatable, you know, and I think it did a good job, and I think it's really, really good. Didn't slap me as hard as I think I wanted it to.
I needed it to slap me
I needed
harder.
to slap me harder, but I thought it was incredible. Late Night with the Devil, A tier, so good. It's
controversial. Let's just not dive into the Hoya, I think.
Yeah, but I like this movie.
We know what's wrong with it.
Style was awesome. I thought some of the themage in there was great. I thought maybe the ending was a little too goofy, maybe a little bit, but...
Over the top. The found footage aspect is awesome.
This is definitely one of my favorite movies still that I've ever seen. It's so good.
Just like, it's probably never going to be S tier because of the AI debacle. Just don't do it again, please.
Trip to the Moon, really good. The thing is, I only included some short films on this list. I didn't include all of them. I just included the ones that I thought were really good and I wanted to talk about. This was awesome. This is A tier. It was like made in like 09, like really old. And so it was basically before people had even been to the moon. It was like imagining what could be up there. And I felt like
like a mushroom forest.
Yeah, I felt like the level of imagination was off the charts, and it was so cool to think about it in the context of its time. People hadn't been to the moon yet.
The moon with the face is iconic.
Yeah, iconic as heck, and I thought it was really imaginative. I actually would rewatch that. It's a short film, so you can like pull it up on HBO and like a few minutes long.
Or probably on YouTube. It's over 100 years old.
Oh no!
License to Bad.
License to Wed is F tier. That's one of the worst movies I've seen. This might be the worst movie of this year. It made me hate Robin Williams.
That you never want that.
Not in real life, but his character in the movie sucked. There was one moment in this movie that was fine, that was good, where they're playing like a Family Feud, but with like Bible questions. That was hilarious. But the movie is like, Rob Williams' character is like a psycho. He's a freaking psychopath, and he's like overreaching boundaries, breaking so many laws, and he's so unlikable. And when he gets punched in the face, I actually was happy. And I'm not happy about that fact. That is not okay. Don't watch this movie. It is so freaking horrible. Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. A tier. That movie is awesome. It's a Wes Anderson movie. Love the style. I need to rewatch it. Kind of thought there was some... I mean, it's Wes Anderson. I mean, there's always themes that Gage likes in these movies. Come on. Yeah, freaking good. I need to rewatch it, though. Little Women was probably one of the best movies I saw this year. That one's probably going to be S tier.
Just walk away.
It's one of the few movies that does the cutting between two different time frames well. At least I like that. It was such a warm movie.
I'm not a big fan.
I always like it. I think the final little chunk kind of throws me off because I'm confused what is going on exactly. But overall, it's kind of peak. It's one of my favorite movies. Oh, this is a new one from this year. Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim.
Rohirrim.
B tier.
A tier.
It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. I really don't
People don't like it?
I don't get the controversy. No, there's a lot of people that hate it, but I also think that it was really freaking disappointing because the main villain mostly was really, really boring. He just was kind of like evil for the sake of it, is what I kind of felt like was...
Well, I mean, the beginning did kind of justify it.
Yeah, but then he's just kind of awful and made you think like, oh, well, he was never good to begin with. Like, he's kind of an irredeemable monster. And I kind of want it to be more nuanced to where he's not completely irredeemable.
I think Gage is complaining because he wanted the Fire Emblem movie.
Yeah, I was really expecting this to be like the Fire Emblem movie that I always wanted.
I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. I actually understood what was happening. I liked it. I
think it's good. It's not as bad as everyone says. It's pretty decent. This This is a movie me and Kylie watched
What is
on the
that?
honeymoon. It's called Love Hard.
Oh gosh, is it a rom-com?
It's a chick flick, all right. Be honest with you, I didn't hate it. It was fine. I liked it enough to probably give it B tier.
Gage.
What?
I'm trying to.
This is my list. I know Blade Runner's below it. I know.
And also freaking Psycho.
Well, I said Psycho would probably go up before we watched it.
Elm Street 1, 3,
Look,
and 5.
you're just saying it because it's just not something you're used to watching, really.
No.
This movie was fine. If I would never have watched it on my own, but my wife had me sit down and watch it, and I didn't hate it. It was kind of funny. It was kind of charming. Thought it was cute.
Don't kill me.
Don't kill me.
Who's that great ape right there? Zoriva.
Yeah, it was fine. I need a water. Yeah, guys, I didn't hate this
Dude,
one.
how much longer is this list? How much longer we got, bro?
Let's see how much longer we're in prison. How long we're in the Matrix. Oh my gosh.
Sheldon, count
Look, I'm trying to hurry, bro. You're stalling me.
Just say 3 words.
Mad God, easily one of the best movies of the year.
And
Neck and neck with Heretic. Visually masterpiece.
Oh, wait, that didn't came out this year.
Well, like that I watched this year. Visually, it's a masterpiece. Somehow, it's like a prequel to freaking 2001: A Space Odyssey, or at least has some connections, like references to it.
Oh, yeah, go down.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time now. Mad God is like peak, and I'm so happy I watched it. Master Gardener, very mixed. I'm not a huge fan of this one. This is lower on the Paul Schrader list. It was the second Schrader movie I watched. I just felt like it was too derivative of other movies he's made. Maxine, gosh dang, that's D tier. I didn't like that one.
That's controversial.
I get it. People love this movie. Didn't love it. I thought
think
it
it's
was
because you skipped the second movie.
No, because the second one's a prequel.
I don't know, maybe explain something.
No, it's about like the villain of the first movie. It's not even in this one. It was just, I felt like I saw some of the themage it was going for, but I just felt like it was too mean-spirited and kind of just thrown in at the very end after the mystery had been solved to care. I just felt like it was a mess. I didn't like it. Mole People is interesting. C tier. Definitely better than
50 schlock.
Definitely better than Rock versus Salt.
Saltwater.
Saltwater. I'm pretty sure Mole People is racist, but I personally don't know for sure. I like watched it and I was like, guys, I think that was racist. Yeah, it's fine. Moonrise Kingdom is S tier. Like I said, that's neck and neck with Darjeeling as like my favorite my second favorite Wes Anderson.
As my favorite.
Moonrise is really, really good. I thought I've talked about it in the Wes Anderson ranking, but I thought the themes here are very, like no other movie I feel like has done and explored what this movie is exploring. Just that feeling of these kids who just don't really have a good life, of just wanting to run away, was really, really cool, and I thought it was extremely heartwarming. Oh, this was this year? Wow. This was a while ago. Mother, I've been dying to rewatch it, but that's S tier. Which is crazy. Most people don't like this one as much as Aronofsky's other movies, because I've also been watching a lot of his movies this year. But based on right now, I think it's S tier, even though I do need to rewatch. I've been wanting to do that. Mulan. I may have seen this as a kid, but I don't remember anything.
That's
so
really high.
I count it as this year. I think it's just B tier. It's fine. I liked it, but it was just kind of nothing special, I felt like, to me. I felt like the message was good, but besides that, I was like, it's fine. It's whatever. Watership Down. Dang, this one, I wanted to rewatch it before this video because I really thought it could be A tier. I just think I went in with the wrong expectations, but right now it's B tier. It's a really good story. It's kind of dark, violent at times, but I think I was expecting more violence and more of that being the identity thing going on, but there's more of a story here than a straightforward story than I was expecting.
It felt a little long, too.
I just need to rewatch it. Mr. Crockett,
That's an A tier movie for me.
It's probably real. Honestly,
Be real here.
I'm gonna be real. I do think it's C tier. a mix because when it goes hard, it is amazing.
The first couple of minutes.
But dude, after the first few minutes, it's like the Terminator Genesis situation where the first few minutes is like S tier, but then the rest of the movie is like, it's fine.
You have to agree, it should get a sequel.
It should, and I really hope it does. Please,
like
make a sequel.
the actor who plays Mr. Crockett, I don't know what he's in, but he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, movies of this style, I want more because I think it's super
The
cool.
creature designs are awesome. The chair.
Oh, Living with Chucky. Oh, dude, it's a documentary on the Child's Play series. This movie put me in such a good mood after watching it. It's A tier. I know it's crazy because it's a Child's Play documentary. Dude, it was so fun. I enjoyed it so much. It was a gift from my wife, the actual Blu-ray of it. And we watched this thing, and I don't think she liked it as much as I did, but I really liked this series. And then to watch this documentary was just like, I loved it. I loved every second of it. It was like so well put together and well made. And yeah, what can I say? It was just kind of going over memories of the franchise. And then I was in such a good mood after watching it. So I really liked it. Oh, Parked. This was a while ago. This is cool. I get to talk about this now.
Oh gosh, I'm just looking at the one after.
This one's B tier. This is I think it's a foreign film, technically. I don't know where, but super obscure. No one knows this movie, I feel like. But it's about this guy that's like living in this car, and then he's parked. He's parked. And then he finds this kid who's also, parked. Basically homeless. And it's just a kind of vibe movie of them just kind of, surviving from their cars and living their life. And it reminds me of Nomadland, and it's very quaint, on the ground type of aesthetic and story. And overall, just I gotta say, I liked it. It was a fun movie to watch because it was kind of cozy in a way, even though at times it was a little disturbing, a little sad. It's a little bit depressing. It's just very melancholic, and I kind of liked it. All right, technically this is a rewatch, but we just had to talk about it. It's been forever since I watched it. Earth Minus Zero is probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Easily.
It is evil.
Easily the most evil film I've ever seen. It's
terrible.
Sucks so much. So boring. Effects suck. Visuals suck. Green screen everywhere. Freaking PNGs.
Yeah.
Freaking Mr. Miyagi's in this.
Literally, I have high chances that the space gun that they got was from a Goodwill, and the way they shoot it, this is how they do it. Pretend I'm holding the gun right here. This is how they shoot it. They just rub their hand on top, and then the VFX shoot out.
It's like
there's literally a moment where there's CGI green screen aliens and UFOs, and the kid's like,
oh, it's bad. So
it's
bad.
Terrible. And Mr. Miyagi's in it.
Never watched this. It's trash.
You remember the effects of when the guy, the dad is tiny and gets snorted up by the dog?
Yeah, it's like just PNG. Like
it's so bad.
Yeah,
it's not even, but like it's not funny bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I was in agony getting through
Literally
this.
midway through, me and Gage were questioning whether we should just stop. Because there was also like the comedy duo, the girl and the guy, and the end of that was weird. I don't know.
It was horrible. I hated it. Let's move on. The Boy and the Heron documentary.
It's easy.
Oh, so good. It's A tier.
It should be S tier.
It was so good. It's one of my favorite. Specifically this year, this is one of my favorites. It was really just, it's awesome. I love these. Like we watched another one, which will be on this list in a minute. I could watch 50 of these documentaries with Miyazaki and just listen to him talk about stuff because it's just so heartwarming and incredible and thought-provoking too. Ghost in the Shell. I want to rewatch this movie, but I think it's B tier. I liked it, but story will lose you quick if you're not paying attention. And I was a little lost, but the visuals were really cool. But Akira is still definitely my pick of like sci-fi anime movie, basically. My Dinner with Andre is next up.
I'm sorry, I can't do that movie.
It's A tier. this is up there as like one of the movies I thought about the most after watching it this year. Super thought-provoking, but just like a real conversation, some moments do drag and some moments are not as interesting. Some conversation pieces aren't as good, but there are other parts that are like, wow, this is really, really thought-provoking.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre. This is A tier. Nacho Libre is so fun. It's so beautiful and cute and warm, and I love it.
It's the best.
It's the best. I actually love this movie. It's so funny.
It's a little heavy-handed in the goose sometimes.
Sometimes.
Like the eagle egg. What was that?
But it's such a unique comedy movie, and I actually thought it was super good and has a heartwarming story.
Nickelodeon, make a sequel.
Make this
The legacy sequel, Nacho Libre, baby.
Napoleon Dynamite. Is this A tier?
Yeah, I gave it A tier.
Honestly, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say it's also A tier. I like Nacho Libre more, but
Dude,
Napoleon
get off my property.
Napoleon Dynamite's so funny though, and I want to rewatch it already because it's so hilarious, and he's such a funny character, and he has great quotes.
Same director as Nacho Libre, which is
Jared Hess.
Yeah. The freaking like the guy. It's like, hey, can I have some of your tots? No, go find your own.
No, go find your own.
The way he talks is like so funny.
It's so good. Nomadland, for a minute there, this was like one of my favorite movies I watched this year. Definitely watched it at the right time. I've never quite thought it was S tier, even though it's like really close. I need to rewatch it, but it's currently going to go in A tier. That movie really stuck with me, but I just felt like the end maybe wasn't as strong as I wanted to be. Didn't hit as hard as I wanted to. But just, I think it deserved Best Picture in 2020. It was like the 2020
Well, I thought
movie.
it won.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Deserved. I mean, it won. It deserved it. Could have won, you know. No One Will Save You. It's a Hulu movie about aliens. I D-tier. Didn't like it.
Moving on.
It was just a dark CG movie. Didn't like it. Norbit.
Gage.
This is embarrassing.
yeah, your wife, man. Just
Kylie really likes comedies of this style, clearly, because we've watched a lot of them in this, had a lot in this list like this.
just why?
It's bordering on F tier, if I'm being honest. I don't even remember. I watched it like 2 days ago, and I don't even remember this movie. Is it F tier?
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
I don't hate it. It's D. It's like the lowest D movie in this tier list, but
Honestly, you're probably embarrassed.
I really want to put it in F tier. Like, that's how like nothing this movie is. It's trying to go for, you know what? Frick it. I'm putting it in F tier.
Ooh,
I hated this movie.
Zero.
I hated this movie. Nor, if I'm being honest, I was just trying to like accept my own feelings. I was trying to embrace them. Yeah, frick it. It sucks. I thought it was really cliche. It wasn't funny. It was very stereotypical, very icky. I didn't think a lot of the jokes were funny. There was like a couple moments that made me laugh. Is that too much though? I mean, like, technically, License to Wed had a few moments,
Dude, are those Norbit fans coming for you?
I don't know, man. I don't like the way it made me feel. I'm just gonna leave it in F tier. It's probably a low D, but it's like a high F. Now, Nosferatu. This is the new movie. I just watched this last night. I wanted to watch it before I made this video. This one's going in B tier.
Well, they're already about to shoot, Gage.
I'm one of these small collection of people that was disappointed with this movie. I like the original more. There's too many things that were confusing. I thought the acting was spotty, especially the one girl that was like freaking like glitching out in some scenes and like was all over the place in terms of the tone and her mood, and it felt like Willem Dafoe's character was like in a totally different movie that was more like, had more energy and fun to it, more of that like Shakespearean writing and him just going over the top. I thought the mustache on Count Orlok was just funny. It was so good. Like, there was a moment in this movie where I literally started laughing, and if I could laugh at a Nosferatu movie, then we've done fricked up. Like, that's not good. I thought it was very generic.
Trucker.
I thought it was generic. A lot of like the moments and kills were kind of generic to me. There's a few moments where it's like, that's fricked up. Like where he like he walks into this house and you know the kids are screaming. Wife runs to the kids' room and Count Orlok is just like holding these two girls by the neck and he like tosses one on the ground. He's like eating the other one. I'm like, that's cool. Like that was fricked up. Like that's good. But overall, just like I was so confused by the story. Like the original didn't have this like romance between Count Orlok and the girl, but this one had that to where she wants to like kiss him and be with him. I'm like, what the frick? Just weird. I didn't get that because I didn't think that fit what the original was doing, and I don't know. Kind of generic.
I think it was only hinted at in the original.
Yeah, and I think that's how it should have
been. And it wasn't like she liked him, it was he liked her.
Yeah, which that would have been fine, you know, sure, but I feel like it was too much, and some of it was generic. It was very long, very boring for a lot of it, and
Max Shrek, bro. You can't beat Max Shrek.
But it still B tier because I could see myself watching it again. So the movie's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I can't say it's mid. I can't say I'm like necessarily mixed on it. I just felt like there was enough there to where I could say I liked it. But I was a little disappointed. That's probably top 10 disappointing movies this year. Office Space. This one's A tier. Such a great satirical dark comedy about how work sucks. It's freaking good, and it's where the quote, "We fixed the glitch." That's where that came from. It's a good movie. It's so funny. One Piece Red, really good movie. This one's B. Really good soundtrack. It's basically a musical. It's got great animation, great fight scenes, and really, really good music. I like that one.
Definitely not biased. What is that?
Onibaba, right? I think it's Onibaba. Onibaba, just watched this the other day. Dang, I was disappointed. I gotta go C tier. I thought it was creepy sometimes, but it was just kind of slow. It was very slow. I didn't get what they were going for until kind of the end. But then there's some like sort of like mystical sci-fi elements that kind of slip into the movie, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, why? But I get some of the themage. I heard it was one of like the best cult classic horror movies that like no one knows about. It just kind of, I was disappointed. My expectations were like up here. They were a little high, I guess, maybe is what it was. Oppenheimer was really good. I thought it was edited like, it was just like,
Can you say it was edited like a TikTok?
I said it was edited like a TikTok video because it's like, it's jumping between like 3 different time periods and 3 different moments, and then it's like cutting between them like this, each scene, and I'm like, what is happening? I didn't know what was happening for most of the movie. I was lost, but I was entertained. But the moments that were really good was when they tested the bomb. That was peak. That was freaking S tier. And the moment when he was like imagining, like it showed his creativity and it like showed the scenes of like explosions and stuff, and like that was S tier. That was peak. But most of the movie, I know it's controversial. I'm dead meat because everyone loves that movie, but Oppenheimer is good. I really liked it. Please, go. I'm trying to exit the simulation.
Oh, the King of Dreams
and Madness, A tier. Not as good as the Boy in the Heron documentary because Takahata was shafted in this one, and he's on the cover. That's unforgivable, but it was still A tier because that's how freaking good these documentaries are. Paranormal Activity 2.
That's the best one.
B tier, boy. I like that. It was pretty good. I like found footage.
I'm gonna be honest, I think I gave it A tier. I would love it.
It's probably B tier. I like it. The ending was the biggest issue, but besides that, it was pretty creepy, pretty entertaining, and there was a couple scares that really like made me shiver. Paranormal Activity 3.
That's F tier. It's garbage.
Gosh, dang!
It's actually garbage. It became a Blair Witch movie at the end. Do you remember when they open the door and there's a bunch of old ladies and then he doesn't say anything, no sound, and he just runs back?
I think I'd agree. It's probably F tier. It was...
There's only one good scare where the entire kitchen was emptied and then it's all on the roof and it drops.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And then the end segment was entertaining and...
How funny.
Kind of creepy, but it was also funny. And it's a prequel, but it doesn't recreate the one scene that she describes in the first movie when they were kids of like a dark shadow
Over the bed.
Over the bed. Never even shows it. It failed as a prequel, failed as a movie, so frick that movie.
Also, the problem with Paranormal Activity is that's not an anthology. It needs to be an anthology. Why is it connected to this one family? I need it to feel like it can happen to anyone.
It should jump around, but it doesn't. Patch Adams, almost A tier.
You had it on A tier.
I did for a while, but
I knew you were cooked.
I'm gonna go B tier. I think it was really good, really heartwarming. It's one of the better based on true story movies of this guy who just thinks differently than everyone else, and he isn't caught up with like having to be always super hyper professional and like mature and like what his job is. And he just wants to take care of people. He's very down to earth, and I thought it was a very heartwarming story. And Rob Williams as the main lead was kind of perfect. So a really good movie. Persona is cinema. Moves in like artsy fartsy. Persona is like
The most cinephile pick out
it's
there.
like a top 10. It shocked me. It was a movie I went in thinking it was going to have a very clear message, a clear idea of what it was going for. But by the end, when it was over, I was like, wow, like I actually don't know what that was about, but I loved it and I felt like there was so much to like chew on. I think it's easily the best Bergman movie. It's easily my favorite that I've seen, and it shocked me. I have it on Laserdisc too. My dad got me that as a gift. He just found it, which is really cool. Yeah, easily S
How much
tier.
of this list to be?
We're almost at the end. We're almost.
Almost at the end.
Next up is Pig. Don't have a lot to say. I liked it though. It was B. Didn't really get what it was going for, but I liked it. I thought it was
baby.
unique and kind of had some artsy stuff to it. Pretty good.
Oh, Predator. S tier.
We're in the Predator segment. Predator 1
That's S tier to me.
that's going to be A tier. Maybe almost S tier, but that's going to be A tier.
Dude.
I had to rewatch it this year. I watched it a few times. And at first I was a little mixed on it, but then it went up to A tier. It's really, really good.
Dude, the free knock. It's so good.
Predator 2, that's going to be C tier.
I don't know why everyone like hates on it. I've never seen it. It just sounds cool. Also, Gary Busey's in it, so like
Yeah, Gary
win on
Busey.
that.
I don't hate Predator 2. I don't even think it's bad. Just kind of forgettable for some reason. It's weird, wild what's happening.
It sounds like the coolest idea though. Predator in a city.
Yeah, it's very wild what's going on, but yeah, it was good.
What is that?
Next is Predators. Oh, this movie's so underrated, dude.
I want to watch it. I've never seen it.
I think this is easily the best Predator sequel. I don't know if it's quite A tier though.
I did hear from a bunch of things. They do like callback lines and stuff like that from the original. But it's like instead of being like the freaking jacked Arnie, it's freaking like skinny Adrian Brody saying it.
I'll go B tier. It is like high B because it's such a hidden gem. I think it's actually extremely underrated. Adrian Brody was very miscast, but I still like seeing him in this movie. But so underrated. For a minute there, this was my favorite Predator movie, and I do think that.
Oh no!
I think that it is super good, but yeah, the original's probably still better.
Right, I need to get a 4K of just the original.
That would be cool. Prehistoric Beast. This is one of those few short films I just had to include to mention it in this video. Prehistoric Beast is A tier. It's a short film about dinosaurs from Phil Tippett. What more do I need to say?
Was that the Prestige?
Prestige was good, but I didn't love it. Every Christopher Nolan movie is like B tier. There's a lot of B tiers. A lot of the Christopher Nolan movies tend to be B tier for me. I liked the Prestige. I was confused by the end, the twist, but I liked that Christopher Nolan was trying to be a little bit more magical, pun intended. But didn't like smash my face off.
I mean,
like
I kind of want to rewatch
to.
it knowing the twist because it'd be kind of wild.
Prey. I was mixed on Prey.
Why? It's so good.
I think it's a little overhyped. I don't think it's the best Predator sequel at all, but
I'm hyped for Predator Badlands though.
I am very hyped for that. Prey was cool. I thought the side characters were kind of lame. I felt like they weren't very well written. I felt like it was kind of forced into making you sympathize with her without good writing. Some of the action is cool. I think the action is really cool when the Predator starts going nuts on people is really good.
I like how he has less technology to where he's just like beating them up. Like when the guy tries to hit him with the hatchet, he grabs it, flips it, and then just hits him with it. Like it's awesome.
It is a cool movie. Prince of Egypt. At first was A tier, now it's S tier. It is probably my favorite musical ever. I watched it this year for the first time. Oh, it's so good. It is, every song is so good. It's got some dark, it's very dark. It's like religious, but it's
Not really.
it's not, and
It's for like people who even aren't.
it's such a good story. It's so good.
It actually makes it enjoyable. It actually makes it a good story that I'm invested in.
Yeah, it
It's
really
not like
is.
all the other ones that are like so preachy.
Yeah, it just works. Visually, it is incredible. It's up there as like one of the best American animated movies for me. Mad God might still be better, but freaking good. Prisoners is next. Gosh dang.
I think it's an A tier.
This movie's crazy. It's gotta be B tier though. I think it's a little too long. Acting was incredible. The mystery to this one I kind of liked. I thought the twist was awesome, and they were going for some themage, but I feel like went over my head. I totally did not understand
very
it.
long.
Didn't really get it. I was kind of tired by the end, but it's good, and it's probably better than B objectively, but I had that experience with it. Pumpkinhead's D tier. Me and Gabe both agree. This movie's just like,
Why do you like
why do people like this? It's cool, like, but think about it. Stan Winston was the guy who directed this. He's a big visual effects guy. But then Phil Tippett, another big visual effects guy, goes on to make Mad God. And I think that just shows the difference in like their directing ability. You know, one was definitely far better
Like
than
when
the other.
this is my reaction when I hear a movie's directed by a special effects artist. I'm like, oh, the practical effects could be crazy. Like the Terrifier movies.
Right, you think the practical effects are going to be peak. Pumpkinhead's effects were just...
The suit's cool.
The suit's cool. That's kind of it.
He doesn't. Every time he kills someone, he just. This is what happens. They're all running. They're running for their life. They exit like the cabin. A hand mysteriously comes out out of camera, out of the sky, grabs their face, and that's it.
And pulls them away, and that's it. It's just boring. Acting, I think, was even spotty, and I just don't get it. The next two, these pictures are so, I can't even freaking read what they are. So I think this, I know what these are now. This one is Ashes to Ashes, Pumpkinhead Ashes to Ashes. That's another D tier, probably realistic.
It's Pumpkinhead 3. We've never seen this.
Yeah, we missed 2. Pumpkinhead 3 is probably...
It's terrible.
It's really
bad. It feels like you came in on in the middle of a series, and like you're supposed to know things, but no, that's just how it is.
Is that F tier?
No, man. No. Earth Minus Zero. No, it's not. I would rather watch Pumpkinhead 3 than that. At least Pumpkinhead 3 had, I don't know, really like goofy PS2 graphic cutscenes.
I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, some of the CG was funny.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Pumpkinhead 4, though?
Alright, Pumpkinhead Blood Feud.
There we go.
Alright, we might be high on cocaine, but this movie's okay.
It's the best one.
Dude, that's so wrong.
The best part is that the story's actually interesting, where these two,
the two families.
Are having a feud with each other, like a blood feud. And basically it's like... They're just fighting each other, and then there's this one guy who wants revenge, obviously. And then Pumpkinhead actually kills people that doesn't mean grabbing their face.
Yeah, he walks through a house and is just killing all these people, all these dead bodies everywhere.
Does a tail stab. He literally crushes a guy's head.
I felt like this movie did the Pumpkinhead theme and storyline with what his lore is,
because it's all about
and how it all works the best. I felt like this did it the best. It's still bad. It's still not a good movie, but there was enough to where I was like, it can maybe barely get in the
like when the guy shot Pumpkinhead's eye and it just kind of refreshed itself. It refreshed the page on that and it's normal again.
Anyways, next up is Rango.
S.
Almost. It's A tier. One of the best animated movies ever made.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
It's definitely one of the best animated movies. Really unique style. It's not trying to be all cutesy and stuff. It's really gritty and ugly, and I love that. It's super good. Requiem for a Dream. Almost S tier again. A tier. This movie made me not even want to take painkillers anymore. This movie is wild. It's about drugs and it's not at all what I thought it was going to be about. And Aronofsky kills it with this movie. Really, really cool and creepy.
I think the cover's kind of dumb. It looks like a stock picture of an eye and then a stock picture of an ocean and then the title. Boom.
No, it's better than that.
RoboCop 2?
Yeah, 1, 3. Yeah, this is 2. Let's just do these in order. So RoboCop 1.
I actually think
it's A tier.
It's sad though.
Rewatching it made me think it wasn't as
Also,
good as I remembered it being.
You give it 3.5.
No, I gave it A.
On Letterboxd, you give it 3.
I did 3.5 in that today. It's still A tier. I definitely give it A tier.
I think it's.
It's good.
I think I overhyped it.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it is super, super good. I liked RoboCop 1 a lot, and then I had a span of time where I thought about it, and I was like, I think that's like S tier. And then I came back and rewatched, and I was like, nah, it's just A tier, but still good. RoboCop 2, I want to rewatch this one, but from what I remember, it's probably B tier. It's very mixed. There's like parts of this that is like just as good as the original, but then other parts of it where it's very goofy, and I didn't like that part as much.
Not smoking.
Final Battle was cool. RoboCop 3.
That's a C tier movie. It's C tier. It's not. No, it's not. No, it's kind of like your average. Like it's basically RoboCop became a superhero, and more of a kids movie. It's C tier, definitely.
Yeah, I guess it is C. It's probably not that bad.
It's just they kind of threw out the grittiness at that point. It became goofy.
It's not good. RoboCop 2014 is pretty good.
That's a B tier.
That's a B tier. That one actually did the best job of bringing back that original movie's ideas.
With this new modern flavor. And actually, it was pretty cool. They're like, remember the beginning? They were like, we have to have this on the news where they like freaking suicide bombed.
And they're controlling the news and stuff. I really like that stuff. I just felt like the movie needed to be longer. I felt like there was stuff missing, and how often do we say it needs to be longer? So like it had some sauce. I like RoboCop 2014. Rocky. Gavin loves this movie. It's A tier for me. I thought it was super good.
I do want to watch it. It's on the watch list.
I'm maybe a weirdo that likes Warrior a little bit more, but they're in a similar tier, I think. Oh, Rushmore. This movie's so good. I actually think this could be A tier on a rewatch, but for now it's B. Jason Schwartzman's first role. He's super good in it. Some of the story points are weird, but I think that there's definitely a good theme and message in here. It's really relatable to a lot of people. Through Glass Darkly. I had to remember it because it's not in English, but Through Glass Darkly is B tier. I think that one has the highest chance of being A tier for me out of the 3 Bergman movies that are kind of considered a trilogy along with this one. It was good. I just felt like a lot of it, by the end of the movie, I was still trying to figure out what was wrong with the one girl, because they didn't really make that clear what was wrong with her in the movie, so I was kind of confused throughout the runtime. So I think it would be better if I rewatched it, because now I do know she has like schizophrenia, something like that. And yeah, interesting. I need to rewatch it though. It kind of goes over my head a little bit. Next up, we have some Saw movies. They're all kind of bunched together. Saw 1, I think, is D tier. I don't even think Saw 1's good. I think it's so freaking long. It doesn't focus on the entertaining stuff that is them trapped in the room, but for just a little bit of the movie. And it's just got this like police thriller going on outside of it. And I was uninterested. I get it. I get why people like it, but to me, I just didn't really vibe very much. Saw 2, a little bit better. That's a C tier movie. I thought it was fine. You know, I really don't have a lot to say.
Characters are absolute idiots. But
characters are idiots. Some of the traps were cool, but I just don't feel strongly.
Orange Pit, man.
Saw X, that's the best one I've seen so far. Saw X is really good. The traps were ridiculously crazy. It made John Kramer the main character, which honestly made it so much better, because he's the best part about these movies. He's what gives it some like depth.
Makes it more iconic and interesting.
Yeah, and focusing on him made it way, way better. So I think Saw X is like the best one so far. It does the best with the whole John Kramer themage, I felt like, and made him actually sympathetic, which was crazy.
Saw 3.
And Saw 3, I think, was D tier. It was just like Saw 1. I was very confused about a lot of the stuff. The whole thing with forgiveness. Well, actually, hold up. I guess maybe it's C tier. Let me actually retract that.
Mid change.
I think I would do C tier, because there is some theming in there of like John Kramer testing Amanda because her way of testing is like to just basically kill people with unwinnable traps, which was cool. This movie has it, but it at least is trying to do something with that in the story, ultimately concluding with that not really panning out. So like, I kind of get it now. That went over my head, but then Kylie, my wife, was trying to talk me through it a little bit because she's seen all these movies. She's trying to help me figure this one out. I kind of see it a little bit better what it was going for. So Saw 3 is pretty okay, actually.
Scanners is B tier.
Maybe I'm getting cooked, but I'm mixed on Scanners.
I'll give it B tier.
I think it's probably, I need to watch more Cronenberg, but it's probably going to end up being lower on my personal list. I don't know. I just wasn't engaged with it. I thought the main character was kind of boring.
Yeah, very automaton.
I thought the beginning scene was incredible, and I thought the end scene was like the best scene.
The most intense staring contest ever.
It was pretty cool. It was an interesting story, but I think it needs to be redone. So I was a little mixed on it. But
there's actually 3 of those.
Dang. Scott Pilgrim.
Gunner would clap you, bro.
I think it barely makes into B tier. I just didn't like this movie. It didn't really relate to me. It feels like the perfect movie for like high schoolers and stuff like to watch. They'd love it, but to me, I didn't get attached to the story. I thought the style was really cool though, and the music's pretty good. I like music, but I don't know. It's not really a movie for me, I think, but it barely gets into B tier.
Ooh.
Scream.
That is an S tier, A or S tier movie.
Scream 1 is B for me.
The snipers are loading their bullets.
I like Scream 1. I've never been crazy about. After watching these movies this year, I'm not a crazy Scream fan. I like them all though. I think they're all at least decent.
We need to watch Scream 4.
But Scream 1 is the best. I think Matthew Lillard's character was the best part, and then like everything with the reveal and all that, the whole scene was really cool. But I don't know, it just never like hits me as much as I think it does other people. And I'll just make this quick. 2 and 3, I don't have a lot of thoughts, but they're both probably going to go into C tier. I don't think they're bad.
I think 3 is B tier, and I think 2 is A tier.
I don't think either of them are bad. I'm just kind of, they're not as good as the first one, and I already am kind of like, I like the first one, but these ones are probably just going to chill here. I thought the reveals were nowhere near as good, and so far I've yet to see a reason why they needed to exist. They're fine. September 5th was a new movie this year. I watched it for a mystery movie at our local theater. That's going to be B tier. It's interesting that this is a movie about a historical event that happened, but it's all from the perspective of the news station covering it. And normally that sounds really boring and like we're focusing on the wrong things, but they kind of made it work, and I was actually kind of entertained with this movie. I don't know, I thought it was pretty good. I'm not a crazy, not found footage, crazy like based on a true story type fan, but I thought it was good. And it's probably way better than B tier, but I just thought it was fun. Hold Me Tight. It's a foreign film. I thought I was going to like it more than I would, and by the end of it, I was left confused. I'm going to go C tier with this one. I just think I need to do a double take, and then I'll realize what it was doing. It was just by the end of it, I was like, wait a minute, like what is happening? I was just confused. But the story here is really sad and really dark, and I do appreciate what it was going for with this basically grieving mother and wife, and just, I don't want to say anything more than that really, but I think it's better in this, but my experience I was pretty mixed on it. Next is Seventh Seal. This is another Bergman movie that's got to go in S tier. It's so good. I watched it the first time, thought it was A tier, rewatched it shortly after my surgery earlier this year, and I was like, this is incredible. It's basically Bergman just reflecting on death and life, and it feels like a director just wrestling with these ideas, much like how the main character is wrestling with death himself in the movie. So it's kind of meta in that way, because it feels like this is Bergman just like he's tackling these ideas in his head, and it feels like he doesn't even really know what to do with them. And then the movie reflects that with like how the story plays out. So I think it's a masterpiece, but I like Persona more, but I do think this one is super good. Next one, Shaun of the Dead. I'll make this quick. I think it's D tier. I didn't like it. I didn't like it very much. I know it's a hot take. A lot of people love this movie, but to me, I didn't get, it's just not my comedy style. I think that's what it boils down to. Short Circuit. This is a cute movie. I remember it vaguely as a kid, but I watched it this year. It's C tier. It is like a fun robot movie, but just not my favorite. I don't really like the robot design a ton, or like his personality is not always like my favorite. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of E.T., but with robots a little bit now that I think about it. But like nowhere near as good as E.T., I'm sure. It was okay. Silence from Martin Scorsese is incredible. That's an A tier. That's probably like top of A. That might be like the actual top of like all of these movies in A tier. Silence was really long, but it's one of those movies that's long and I feel like it deserves its runtime, and it's beautiful, beautifully shot. I feel like the themes were so real. It was just like fact after fact, and then it just kind of culminates in this like, wow. Like, so, depending on who you are going into this movie, you'll have a way different experience than like anyone else. Like that dictates how you experience it.
Thing was like, wow, Liam Neeson's in a good movie.
Yeah, for real. No, just kidding. Sinister was fine. I think I'm just like not into like these generic horror movies.
I mean, it is scary. The tapes themselves are pretty creepy.
They kind of just don't really do a lot for me personally.
It felt like a horror short.
Yeah,
that was lengthened into a movie.
It was kind of creepy. I liked Ethan Hawke in it, and I thought the twist was cool. But besides that, it's just not a movie that does a lot for me.
Slaughterhouse is hot garbage. That's F tier.
I actually think I might agree with you. It's F tier.
Hot garbage.
I've been doing D tier for a while because it's trying to be bad, but it's bad at being bad. I think some of the set design colors were good.
Do you even understand what the plot of the movie is?
No, it's really stupid.
I think the idea is so like. I think a killer sloth. Give it to me. You can do something with that, but no.
Yeah, it was just.
The only good thing I'd say is that the puppet looks kind of cool.
I think there was something that went horribly wrong when they were trying to make it bad. Like I get it.
They say Sigma multiple times.
Yeah, it was just. Honestly, that's all we need to say. Let's leave it at that. They say Sigma too many times. Smile 1.
That's an A tier movie.
This movie was way better than I ever thought it would be. It is A tier. I thought the themes were in there that were cool about like the mental health and stuff, and like the Smile demon itself plays into that. And
it is very riffing off of other things, like what everyone says, like the Ring or the It Follows demon, stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of this thing follows you around, but I thought it was creepy. I thought it was cool.
After watching some videos about people complaining about it, I do agree a little bit that in the final act, the creature before it skins itself is kind of goofy looking.
Wait, like the tall thing?
Before it removes itself, there's a shot that they always say where he's like this, and the hair and the long face, it looks kind of goofy.
Dude, I thought it was creepy.
But when he skins himself, it's absolutely terrifying.
It is. It's a cool movie. I do recommend it. Surprisingly good. You would not think it would be good, but it's surprisingly good. Oh, Smile 2, it was such a letdown. I gotta go see. It was just a jump scare fest, and it was very...
There was a couple things.
It was very predictable, and...
I hate dream movies.
And it was a dream movie where like nothing really mattered by the end, and you forget.
The best part is when like there was the guy that was smiling, but you didn't know if it was the demon or not, or if it was just a really creepy guy.
That stuff's cool.
Who was also in her house, standing there in the dark.
Yeah, the effects. The effects were good.
When the creature came back at the end, when it came out of the top half of her clone, that was crazy.
That stuff's good. It's enough to keep it at a D tier, but I was very disappointed. I think it's a huge downgrade, just in terms of my enjoyment.
I know
compared to the first one.
I know the ending's predictable, but imagine a Smile 3 where it's like post-apocalyptic. They're all like, no one can look at each other, or else they'll do something.
Could be good. Oh, Sonic 3 is one of my favorite movies this year. This is A tier easily. I thought Sonic 3, out of like 2024 only movies... No,
you don't have to say anything. Just be like, oh, I see a button.
Push the button.
Just continue, like, bro.
Frick me, this movie's good. Just watch it. If you're a Sonic fan at any point in your life, especially if you like Shadow,
and if you like Jim Carrey's doing a laser dance off.
It's such a fun movie. Gosh dang.
I actually kind of want to rewatch it, though.
4.5 out of 10. I could go back to the theater and watch it again.
4.5 out of 10. It's bad.
4.5. 4.5 out of 10. Wait, no, that's a 9.
That's bad.
No, it's good.
4.5 out of 5 is good. 4.5 out of 10, you idiot. It's a 4.5 out of 10 movie.
All right, Speak No Evil.
The remake for...
The remake.
Why is it a remake of a 2-year-old movie?
That's very dumb, but it's good. It's really good. I gotta go A tier. I thought let me say, I haven't watched the original. It's like Danish or something, the original Danish film.
I've heard it's more icky than this one.
I would probably like that version more, which I should probably watch it because it's probably gonna at least be A tier. But this remake, I still thought was really good. I thought the theme of like, you know, this inherent fear of like doing things that are like socially unacceptable. That's the point of this movie, and I thought that was fire. That's so cool, and I feel like that's going to be really relatable to a lot of people. It seems really generic on the surface, and the end of it maybe is a little more straightforward horror stuff you've seen.
I don't think the remake ended like that, or the original.
Yeah, but I personally got a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I thought it was
James McAvoy's creepy.
Actually shockingly pretty good, and it was beautiful. It was well shot, cool landscapes, cool moments and stuff, and it's just that like those moments, it's like I related to it so much because everyone's had these awkward social moments, you know, in real life. Anyways, The Spider. So this year me and Gabe embarked on a journey called Spider Sundays. We almost never watch these movies actually on Sundays, but we try to watch a bunch of Spider movies. That's why you've seen some on this list. And I think it started with this movie.
It's C tier.
But it's C tier.
The director, what he does is that like Jack Arnold makes a really good classic movie, and then he copycats it.
Yeah.
In this case, he copied Tarantula.
Yeah, which we're gonna talk about that. But this movie's fine. It's harmless, but I think
the way they made it look like it's big is to where you can see it's 2 different shots that they kind of melded into one.
Yeah, which is impressive. I mean, it still works, but it doesn't look nearly as good as Tarantula, which we're gonna talk about that. Splice was dreadful. That was a D tier movie. Splice was not good.
Don't talk about it.
CGI was hideous. It was weird as freak. It was weird. And I felt like there was no purpose. I'm okay with a weird movie, but you gotta have a reason. You gotta have a reason for really messing with my mind.
Oh, I think that next one's Split, I think.
Split is B tier. It was a little underwhelming. I felt like it had potential of being better than it was, but I thought James McAvoy's acting is the reason why you watch it.
Like 20 people.
That's the reason why you watch this movie, and he's doing really, really good job, but I don't know. I thought it was fine. I thought the ending was really creepy where that was going. Spy Kids 3D.
It's a C tier movie.
It's C tier. It's not horrible. I think it was kind of funny.
Why is there so many big actors in it?
Yeah, it has a lot of really funny quotes. We still quote Spy Kids 3D. Technically, I watched it when I was a kid. I do vaguely remember it, but
you're the guy again.
Yeah, he's like, you're not the guy. I am. And then like when he dies, and then the other kid's like, all right, you're the guy again. It's like, it's stupid, but it's really funny.
Why is Elijah Wood here? Why is Sylvester Stallone here? Why is George Clooney here?
It's pretty
Why
funny.
is Antonio Banderas here?
Yeah, that's a good one. Starship Troopers was one of the best movies I saw this year. That's S tier. The satire in this movie is so freaking good. And the themes, and oh my gosh, dude, it's like, basically, it has action, it's got the comedy, it's got the story, again, being the satire, where like, you're told very little, but whatever you are told about why the war is happening, if you're not paying attention, you'll be like, yeah, that checks out. But if you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, hold up. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. They like blame these bugs for throwing meteorites at the planet when that's kind of what meteorites do. That's what they do already. And they start blaming on these bugs that have nothing to do with it. And then they start the war over that. But like, that's so cool. And then there's multiple other things that happen in the movie that's very satirical and like kind of critiquing wars and how they start. And you know, by the end of the movie, it's really kind of a tragedy if you think about it. So Starship Troopers is peak is freak. That's one of the best movies. Peak is freak.
Sting. C tier.
I didn't like Sting.
It's C tier.
Sting's got to be D tier for me. I don't know. I was disappointed.
The cover is the one scary scene in the movie.
Yeah, I thought tonally it was off. It's not horrible, but I just thought it was bad. I thought it was whatever.
I thought it was goofy at the beginning, where it's literally like an asteroid goes into this window and it's an alien spider.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that one very much.
And also, she was on, for some reason, a freaking rating on Letterboxd brought this up. You know how she took pictures of it and like sent it to her friends on like Twitter, I think?
Maybe.
It uses Instagram sound effects for Twitter.
Yeah, that's stupid. Stop Motion is a movie that I'm mixed on.
It sounds awesome.
It was cool. I wish there was more stop motion. It was just kind of funny. It's called stop motion. I wish there was more.
Stop motion.
There's some, but it's about a lady making a stop motion movie. And I think I got to rewatch it. I think I should have watched Mad God and then did this as a double feature. And I think I would have understood it better.
Is it a horror movie? Like,
yeah, it's a horror movie. I got to rewatch it though. I couldn't really tell you a whole lot about it. Super Size Me is fine. I mean, like,
I've heard the guy who made it was like a dirtbag.
It's like, no crap. Eating fast food every day is bad for you. It's like,
obviously.
But I mean, some of the details are interesting.
Talk to me is 18.
Talk to me. This is probably one of the biggest difference in opinions between me and Gabe, because he loves this movie.
And most people do.
I didn't get it. I don't get the hype.
You're just like, I watched Requiem for a Dream.
I thought Requiem for a Dream
it's because
does this better.
The hand basically became a drug.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't care.
The hand's great.
It just wasn't for me.
Tarantula.
Tarantula is
a C-tier movie at heart gauge.
I'm putting it in B, but Tarantula is...
It's a boring movie till the end. It's
probably the movie I've been the most obsessed with this entire year.
Why?
Because I think this movie could be so much better than it was. But I think about it so often because I feel like it could be so much better, and I can imagine ways it could. Like, there's a scene in here where it's like nighttime, so it almost it is a black and white movie, isn't it? It is black and white, yeah. Yeah. It's like nighttime, black and white. There's like horses kind of freaking out because the spider comes over the mountain.
That thing is huge in that scene.
Comes over this mountain, this hill, and it like freezes. And like just the music, the vibe of the horses freaking out, and then just it creeping up. That whole scene was so cool. It made me think, wow. Imagine if Robert Eggers actually, at this point, don't remake it, because I feel like Nosferatu is disappointing, but give it to someone who can like capture that creepiness of that scene. And you gotta watch the movie to know just how good that scene was. Then, like, you'll know what I mean. I really like Tarantula. That's gotta be like high B. Tarot is F tier. It's predictable as freak. Predictable, lame, boring, dark, can't see anything. Frick me, frick you, frick off. I hate this movie. So boring. I wish I'd fallen asleep during this. Honestly, it's probably not even as bad as a lot of these in F tier, realistically, but I just don't like it. It's bad. It's still bad. TMNT Mutant Mayhem. This movie's good. Really good. It makes pop culture references, and I kind of thought they were funny and cool.
Dude, I'm getting tired, bro.
We're almost at the end.
We're 2 hours in.
Good movie. Entertaining. Attack on Titan references were cute, and animation style and battles were really cool.
I think it dated itself.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. Terminator 3... Rise of the Machines.
Are we in the Terminator phase?
Yeah, we are. This one's D tier. Very derivative of 2. Just doesn't need to exist. It should have been a sequel. Literally, once I finished 1 and 2, I was like, okay. Now they should make the movie where it's like...
Dude, I'm gonna go off camera till you're done.
Where it's like in the future timeline of John Connor fighting against the Terminators. And we're going to get to this in a second. But anyways, T3 was not that. It was just like T2 again, but just sucked. Terminator Dark Fate, C tier. I don't think it's horrible. I don't even think it's bad, but I thought Sarah Connor coming back was cool. Linda Hamilton back is awesome, but she doesn't have anything to do in the movie. I thought what they did with Arnold's character wasn't very fleshed out, but I thought it was interesting. I thought the main character was actually kind of fine. I expected to hate her, but she was fine. But the girl she's trying to protect, Didn't care for her very much. And then there's a line in the movie where the main character lady's like, no, you're not supposed to be the mom of some man who's gonna save the world. I was like, oh, frick me. I was like, that sucks. Like, it's very middling. Some of the action's fine, but Terminator's just like fricking around until we get the real sequel that we're waiting on. Terminator Genesis is F tier. Frick this movie, but I will say the first 15 minutes of this was exactly what I wanted. I still want a movie based on that. Because the first 15 minutes is just like, it's like got the music, it's high octane, it's got like, you know, this setup of like them going into the base, the Terminators are everywhere with their laser guns, it has the blue look to everything. I'm like, that is peak as freak, it's so cool.
Peak is freak.
But the rest of the movie is just a retelling of the first movie, and it goes off the rails. The writing is miserable and atrocious. And really, it was a movie that once I realized they recasted Linda Hamilton, I was out. I was like done. I literally was like not even paying attention to the rest of the movie. I just didn't care. I was frustrated at that because that was the one thing they could never do. Because Linda Hamilton's character of Sarah Connor can never be played by anyone else, and I'll accept it. It's just one of those things. I just don't like that. I just don't want them to do it because she was perfect in that role. And they tried it, and I was just like, no. Let's do T1 first. T1, almost S tier. That's A tier. That movie blew my mind. When I watched it, I was like, holy frick, it gets better in this. And then I watched T2, and I was like, wow, frick, yeah, I did get better. And that's like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It is like one of the best action movies ever made. I thought that the theming in there was cool. I thought Sarah Connor's character had developed in an interesting way, and she's just the best part about this franchise. And T2 slaps hard. That is a freaking good movie. I get why it's so hype. Terminator Salvation, it's still C tier, but it's definitely better than Dark Fate. This is actually my, I don't want to say favorite, but I think it's the least bad sequel after 2. I think it's the better of the 3, I think, 3 or 4, whatever the frick it is, of these movies. Yeah, 4. Because it is the movie that is entirely based on that timeline of battling the Terminators, and it's post-apocalyptic. But the problem is that everything's so gray and drab, and there's really not even that many Terminators. There's too much time dedicated to random robots that are flying around and attacking these people, and that was just less interesting to me. And I was like, why? Why'd they get rid of the cool 80s aesthetic to these movies and, you know, the future and stuff? And I'm like, so it's still mid as freak. I'm very mixed on it, but I don't know. I respected that it at least tried something, and it was definitely going for some cool storylines, and it has a crazy cast. So Salvation's okay. Now we got Terrifier 1, 2, and 3. I'm so happy to talk about these movies.
I'm back.
All right, let's start with the first one, and we'll work our way up. Terrifier 1, for a long time, was like 3.5. I was like, man, that movie is really good. Retroactively, I'm giving it A tier. That movie slapped. It's so cool. I thought this is an example where a practical effects, like visual effects guy directs a movie and it works and it looks awesome. The visuals in this movie slap. It's dark, it's creepy, it's grounded because it feels like it's just a dude in a clown costume walking around with a trash bag full of weapons, and he just decides to hunt these girls. And I thought it was kind of creepy, kind of really good. I thought this movie was awesome. I actually have the Blu-ray of it now. But the other two definitely haven't hit as hard with me personally. So let's talk about that. Terrifier 2.
People like that one.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, most people do. Based on what I remember in my experience with this movie, I'm gonna have to go C tier, even though I think I'm mixed. It's probably a high C tier for me. This one, you know, it starts to now become a story, you know, a franchise with a story, a recurring character, and they're going for more of like the traditional 80s type of like slasher movie stuff that we're more used to and accustomed to in these movies. But I felt like it took away what made the first one so interesting to me, where it just felt like this like really gritty, kind of like no one is safe type movie, and it was more traditional. Still great. I thought the visual effects were like insanely good, and that's probably why it should be B tier. But this movie's really long. It's like 2 hours long or something. It's really
2 hours and 20 minutes.
really, really long for a horror movie of any kind. That's long. It's a mixed, but it's like probably the highest C tier movie in that list. It's really like not quite the same as a lot of those. Terrifier 3 was a step up. I think it was a little bit better. That one slips into B tier. I really enjoyed this one. I really liked it. Some of the stuff with art, and now we're starting to get into some, or 2 really brought in some sci-fi stuff, and I'm not really a huge fan of that either.
Not really sci-fi. The second one was fantasy.
Yeah, like some fantasy, just stuff that's more mystical. And 3 has that, and 3 it made art more like the co-star to this other demon entity, and it became more demon movie-like, and I don't know, it's not what I really wanted this franchise to do. I kind of preferred the first one being more just grounded, or even All Hallows Eve in the original Terrifier short. But overall, I enjoyed it. I watched this one with my wife in an empty theater. It was literally just me and her in the back. And so we're just like reacting to everything happening and like, oh, dude, that's so messed up. And like, oh, that's nasty and crazy. And the visual effects are like second to none. Like, it's incredible. Super, super good. Next up is The Banshees of, I think it's Inisherin, is how you say it. This movie is probably going to be an A tier. Even though I think when I first watched it, I was like...
I remember you watching that.
When I first watched it, I was more in the B tier with this one, but I think if I were to double dip, it would go back to A. Really cool style, and the other island having like the sound of war going on, and then this isolated area over here. There's some really cool stuff there, and I think the themes of isolation and friendship there is really compelling. It's probably a lower A tier for me right now, but it's probably up there. Next up is The Batman. It's just not for me. It's going to be B tier. I like The Batman, but it was just like...
That's a cooked opinion.
I think it was really long. It's more slow burn. I'm not a crazy Batman guy already, but I like this more than some of the other Batman movies, but I don't know. It was fine. I liked it. Colin Farrell as the Penguin's really good. Belko Experiment's probably D tier. It's kind of entertaining. I was definitely interested to see how it ended.
I thought it was weird for how dark it was to have James Gunn writing.
Yeah, by the end of the movie, it was just like really nihilistic and empty. It's like, all right, you want to watch like a bunch of people just die in a building? Here you go. It's like, okay, like, is there a story? Is there characters we care about? Is there theming of some sort? And it just, it kind of dropped the ball. It really needed like a John Kramer type character to be running the whole thing.
Tried doing that.
Yeah, but they fricked it. So Belko's whatever. I thought it was kind of bad, but in pure entertainment, it's probably higher than that, but I thought it was kind of bad. Next is The Black Phone.
I think it's A tier.
I go B tier. I liked it.
He's a bad guy, man.
Didn't do a whole lot for me personally, but I thought it was kind of eerie, kind of creepy. Thought it was good, but I don't know. It's just not a movie really stuck with me much after. The Blob 88.
I think that's an S tier movie.
I'm going to keep it an A tier for now.
Dude.
But I don't necessarily fault you. I do think it's one of the best use of practical effects in any movie I've ever seen.
It's also just like so good.
Story and themes, really, really cool. This blob lands on Earth, and you're like, oh, that's really weird. And then there's like a twist of what the blob's origin is, and then from there you're like, oh, I get what they're doing. I get what the story's about. And
the kills, the characters.
Yeah, like the government interference in this movie and stuff. Really cool. It's an incredible movie.
Remember this is a little bit of a spoiler, but when he's gonna blow up the sewer, he's like, if you won't listen to me, listen to this.
Yeah.
It's so
good.
80s.
It's really good. It's really good. Conjuring 3, Devil Made Me Fricker. Let's do that indeed.
The Devil Made Me Fricker.
That movie sucks. I don't care. I don't like demon movies already. I think they're boring most of the time.
I do want to watch the first two. I haven't seen
I would rewatch those with you.
Yeah, I do want to rewatch them. I do want to watch them.
This one, though, it's bad. Don't like it. Don't care. It's not F tier. It's not horrid.
It's one of those, I think it's one of those situations where as soon as you lose James Wan, it just isn't the same.
Yeah, what a downgrade. The Fall Guy, easily B tier. This movie was almost A for me. I really liked it. I thought it was really fun and enjoyable, but then a lot of the movie goes off the rails and is like this crazy action movie when it starts out as more of like, you know, a stunt double experience type thing, which, you know, it's all cool. It's really like a rom-com disguised as an action movie.
Gauze
Oh, yeah, Goslord. So it's a good one. I like that one. The Farewell. Ultimately, I'm going to do it in B tier because I liked it. I thought it was a cute movie. Had a good vibe. I just was confused. I didn't really get what the point was because I thought the whole point of the movie was like the grandma's dying, but she doesn't know, and everyone else does, but they don't tell her, and like that's the whole point of the movie. But she ends up not like dying in the end, so it's like, what? But then, I don't know, everything else aside from that was good. I thought it was well acted. I enjoyed everything that was going on. I just ultimately was kind of questioning why we did it in the first place. But stylistically, it's a very beautiful movie.
What is that?
This one, this is a Fire Inside. This is a 2024 movie.
It's cool seeing it before it even released.
Pretty cool. Yeah, we saw this in a Monday Mystery movie. B tier. I like it. I thought it's like Tyree Henry, something like Brian Tyree Henry or something is the one dude. He was also in like Godzilla and Kong and
dude, he's just so he's
Child's Play 2019.
Yeah, he's underrated.
He is
acting.
He is, and he is great in this movie. I really liked him. Based on true story movies don't tend to go too far with me.
I also just felt like the pacing was like breakneck at the beginning. Like I thought the movie would end in like the second act.
Yeah, maybe it dragged on after that for a little long, but the story here is really cool, and I think it was cool to learn about this person that lived. It was just maybe, you know, mildly interesting.
And also the real person produced it.
The French Dispatch. This one was B tier when I watched
Look
it.
at the B tier column.
A lot of people are gonna cook me for this because a lot of people love this movie. I need to rewatch it, I guess, but it's an anthology movie with multiple segments of like a new story going on. And I liked it. Stylistically, it's beautiful, but I remember just not connecting to it as much as other Wes films. I tend to prefer Wes films that have more relatable characters or story going on that I connect to. You know, I get what's going on and stuff. So, French Dispatch was cool, but probably B tier. This one is Grand Budapest Hotel. This movie was one of those movies that it's going to go in S tier. When I watched it, I was like, yeah, that's probably S tier. And then I haven't watched it since, so I got to rewatch it. But
and then you're still like, yeah, it's probably S tier.
Yeah, it's probably still S tier. It was awesome. It was really cool. It was like about nostalgia and this guy reminiscing about his memories of like his mentor and then the adventure that they go on. And it's super funny. It reminds me of like an Indiana Jones movie in some ways because they're really like going on this adventure and it's like them reminiscing about all these crazy things they got up into. And the acting's flawless, so it's just a beautiful movie. The Hunt for Red October.
I don't like it.
I might agree.
It's bad.
This is probably not a cooked opinion, but I don't know. I thought the movie's extremely boring and slow. The whole movie's just, where's the sub at? Where's this sub at?
It's not entertaining.
And Michael Ironside's in it. That was cool. But yeah, didn't like that one. The Lighthouse, ultimately gonna go C tier.
That's a cooked opinion.
Lighthouse is Robert Eggers being weird and stylistic and visually
I know the meme where they're both just like laughing at nothing. They meme that a lot.
Yeah, visually it's very pretty, and you know them being isolated and stuff is cool, but it was just I don't know what was happening. There's a lot of weird things, like very not realistic things that happen. I'm just like, why? Why are they so obsessed with that light? Weird movie. The Lion King. I've probably seen bits and pieces.
I'm gonna go ahead and ruin my career and say that most Disney movies are overrated, like the old ones especially.
Maybe, but
every time I watch them, I'm just like.
But as far as me,
I think I'm a spoiled person who watched too many Ghibli movies for.
Yeah, Ghibli's better, but Lion King's A tier. I think it's really good. Probably a lower A tier for me personally. I like it a lot.
Putting it next to the Blob is kind of heresy.
I think it is a little overrated, but it's such a good story. Like
it is.
It's such a good story, and you know it's very universal. I feel like it's always going to be good. No point in remaking it. This is really dumb. Music's good too. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it is a little overrated, but I do think it's incredible. The Menu.
We're finally almost done.
This movie is so entertaining. I'm gonna go to S tier.
It's one of those movies. I'm starting to doubt it's S tier in a little bit.
Wait until you rewatch it, because I kind of felt that for a minute, but then we rewatched it. The Menu's just so good. I feel like it has so many themes, but it's entertaining. And it's this critique on like this exploration of art and the different ways people consume art. And
like the whole thing with the chef, to where like he was passionate about it first, but then he wasn't.
Yeah, he's passionate about it, and he tried to fine tune it to be perfect, but it never satisfies these people. So instead, the meaning of this movie lies in creating art that you personally are passionate about.
Because you're not going to impress everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about making art that's self-fulfilling to you. And
the cheeseburger, man.
It's beautiful.
It's like the rating. Like, I never thought I'd get so emotional over a cheeseburger.
It is a beautiful movie. So yeah, Menu I think is highly underrated. It's really good. Nightmare Before Christmas was a C tier. I like the style. I think the music was good, but
loading the bullets again.
But I think it is a little overrated. I think Corpse Bride's way better.
I think Beetlejuice is the best Tim Burton.
It's short though. That's good.
All stop motion movies are usually short.
And like I said, music's really good. I liked it. But it just didn't blow me away. Okay. The Post. Look, I know people probably love this. I just was bored by it. I didn't understand what, I'm already not a based on true story guy. It's a biopic. Something's going on. I don't know. I was kind of tired. I may have fallen asleep here and there. I just was very bored by it. But I don't think it's bad. I was just not for me. So, C tier. The Predator. Probably a D tier. It's probably a high D tier, realistically. I get why people hate this. There's one scene in here, though, that I freaking love. It's where the Predator, he's being tested on whatever, but he wakes up and he, like, gets off the table. And he, like, freaking gets, like, a machine gun from someone and starts, like, shooting people. I thought that was freaking cool. That was awesome.
It just seems so miscast.
Yeah, it's miscast.
Keegan Michael Key in here.
Miscast,
CGI,
story's weird. Apparently there's like missing segments or something. I didn't notice that when I watched it, but
like the time skips that don't feel like time skips.
Yeah, there's like they jump. Yeah, it sounds like it's a mess, and we needed like an official director's cut or something of this movie because it is a mess. But I don't know. There's moments I kind of liked it. If you turn your brain off, it's not horrendous.
Oh, we hit the Purge era now.
Purge Anarchy. I remember liking it.
I kind of want to rewatch it. Like after election year, I kind of want to rewatch it.
I'd give it B tier. I liked Anarchy. It was what everyone wanted the first one to be.
I hope everyone can agree Frank Grillo's the best thing came out of this.
Yeah, Frank Grillo's awesome.
Leo is like peak.
Really, it was a fun movie. It was cool. Kind of dark. Kind of some cool themage, but nothing too crazy. Election year. For a minute there, we were considering A tier throughout the year. I think it's still a B tier.
Joe and Leo.
Maybe we were just like not.
It was not. It was late at night.
It was late at night. I think we were just like really worn out. But we watched this, and when Joe and Leo are like being, Joe's got the freaking pistols and
the Kimbos.
I don't know. This movie was kind of fun to watch. It's definitely going for more of that entertaining, stupid energy, but I like that, and yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, it's definitely B tier. And then the first one, similar. I think all three of them are good. I like all of them.
If I want a more like scary one, I'm gonna go for that OG.
And Ethan Hawke was great. I like all three of these movies. They're probably on the lower end of the B tier, but I like all three, and they're fairly entertaining. Just nothing too crazy. The Shining.
You are gonna die.
I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked. It's B tier. I like The Shining. Creepy. Jack Nicholson was crazy. This is a movie that feels like you need to know some source material to fully understand it, because it really doesn't explain what's happening or why he starts freaking out. But it's entertaining. It has some really cool sets and
some of the most iconic scenes in cinema history.
Yeah, some crazy set designs as well. It's kind of long, but it's really, really cool. It's a really special and unique film, and I get why it's so highly regarded. Just my experience was maybe a little more in the B tier.
This is the guy who directed 2001, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. Signs. Oh, Signs is so good. That's A tier. Signs is definitely A tier. A lot of people don't like the twist. I don't mind it. But I thought the acting from Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix was peak. Super good. The story here is incredible. There's some really heartfelt moments.
That seems like what Shyamalan's good at.
Yeah, Signs is awesome. I was blown away.
I actually, after watching a ranking video, I really want to watch The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable now.
And there's a moment in Signs where there's just this extended, it's like a few minutes at least, conversation of just dialogue. And it was really engaging and compelling. And when a movie can do that, you know you got good dialogue. So Signs is really, really good. Silence of the Lambs.
You're ready to get cooked
I'm
again.
cooked. I'm mixed. It needed more Anthony Hopkins. Because really, he's not even the villain. Like, he's just, like, helping the girl solve the mystery to find the villain. And he's like, I don't know what the frick was going on. Like, he was strange. It's creepy. It's definitely got some thriller energy in it, but Anthony Hopkins was the best part, and he's kind of just not in the movie enough. I kind of wanted more of him being terrifying and creepy, and I was just missing it. So, I don't know. I was just maybe a little bored by it.
Is that the...
This is the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I'm going to go in B tier. It was almost A tier for a minute, but I liked it. It was a movie about family, this fractured family, and trying to bring it together, but then ultimately, just things kind of play out from there. And, I think it was a beautiful movie, but I felt like it should have landed harder with me than it did. Wild Robot. This one is definitely going A tier. Beautiful looking animation style. I wish the whole movie was a silent film. I always wish that it was. When we saw that first trailer, we were like, yeah, if this is a silent film, it's going to be S tier.
Still great.
I still stand by that. Probably would have been, but it's still great. It's A tier.
There's a sequel coming.
It's incredible. We need more movies like this. It almost has like a Ghibli vibe to it.
Whoa,
at times. Especially that beginning. Like when he's...
too much dip on your
And the best part is the beginning when he's just like exploring this world and all the animation's incredibly beautiful. That's easily the best part about the movie. Then the rest of the story is good. About parenthood and motherhood and stuff. And this robot learning to be a parent is strangely compelling. So that's a good one. The Witch. This movie, dude, has gone up. I originally was like, yeah, it's probably a low B, but then it's like creeped up to like that's A tier. I thought it was really creepy. I think it's one of my favorite final shots in any movie. It was like, holy frick. It's like you kind of understand why some people resorted to this type of stuff, this witchcraft. And it sort of like played it out to where you're like, oh, wow. That's really scary. And then it ends with that scene of like her floating. I'm like, oh, frick off. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, it's a visually stunning movie, and I think it was probably A tier.
We're gonna speed up.
We're gonna speed it. If power goes out, I'm gonna cry. Elephant Man didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to. B tier.
Should have ended.
Oh gosh, y'all probably hear that. That's scary. Elephant Man, good.
Should have ended earlier, but it just kept going.
Really long, but a beautiful story. Them, oh my gosh.
The best 50s sci-fi movie.
Best 50s sci-fi horror movie freaking ever. It was so good. So good. The visual effects, I don't know how they did it. Like the spiders would be animatronic and like moving, and then they go limp. I'm like, how did they do that?
I think also, for a fun fact, Godzilla actually copied them, not the other way
Because them
around.
came out first, and it has a very similar story of like nuclear.
They're talking about like radiation
Radiation,
yeah. Big, and they're talking about like the whole thing with radiation and how it would be used and stuff. It's very similar.
And it's eerie. Them is really well shot, and it's got some creepy stuff, and the characters are cool too.
Yeah, you remember whenever an ant is about to come, it'll play the one in the mountain the first time you see it. It's so cool.
It's really, really cool. The Master. This one's really good. Kind of went over my head a little bit, maybe a little long, but probably Joaquin's best performance he's ever done. And if I kind of have an idea what the theme was, it was compelling.
It's on my watch list.
The Whale. This one's controversial. Kind of mixed opinions on this one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was a movie that my wife really liked a lot and still likes, and she showed it to me, and I was like, wow, that was really good. Aronofsky did a good job on this one. Very down to earth, very grounded for his style. But I thought the performance was very, very good from Brendan Fraser, and I thought the sort of religious stuff thrown in there was actually really cool. I didn't expect that at all. Trap is really good. I like Trap a lot. Going in B tier, I think the final segment chunk of the movie was nowhere near as good as the first part, but I liked it, even though, yeah, logically there's probably a lot of leaps in logic, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was very entertaining.
It's cool.
Two lovers. This movie seems like the most dumb thing to be here, but
bargain bin from Walmart,
But it's going A tier. I thought it was strangely compelling. I thought Joaquin Phoenix's character. Oh, I remember his name. His name was Leonard in the movie. The fact that I remember that means like he was so compelling. Like he was so well written. And yeah, Joaquin Phoenix was killing it. I thought it was interesting. It was like, he had everything set up perfectly and everything was stable with like this one girl, and like he had the family, he was going to be brought into their family business, but then there's always something kind of drawing him to this like other girl that was like kind of just like sloppy and crazy and there's a right word. I can't know. I can't know. I can't know.
We better move on, bro.
I don't know if I can think of it, but basically it's just like a wild card, and just sort of what he does with that. It's just, I don't know, compelling. It's a lonely movie, and I kind of like that. But anyways, The Silence, right? Yeah, this is The Silence. This is another Bergman movie. I need to rewatch it. For now, I'm going to go into B tier. The theme of this movie, I did not see it in the movie when I first watched it at all.
I guess you looked it up after.
I had to look it up after. Really cool shots, though. Really cool shots. And style. There was some style there I liked. There was enough to where I was like, that was really good. But I couldn't tell you why I thought it was really good. Ocean Waves. We watched this year. It pains me it's in C tier, but probably a high C tier. The girl's just the issue with this movie. I think that it's still...
Just take that out of context. That's so weird. The girl's the issue with this movie.
The girl character, she's very annoying.
She has a mental problem.
She's not good, but...
She just screams randomly and then is normal the next scene. But
I think the movie being about... That scared the crap out of me.
What?
I'm in your chair.
Your chair.
Oh, your chair. I just think it's a good movie about nostalgia, and it's like, wow, like it feels nostalgic. Wow. AI, wow.
Wow.
I'm in the system. Unfriended. I had an interesting experience watching this movie.
You watched on the laptop.
I watched it in a Chick-fil-A on a laptop.
And it's a Zoom call, right?
It's like a whole movie is from a computer screen, so it was a very unique experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's actually underrated.
Now, just one thing. Where's the Duolingo horror movie?
It's a good movie. Unfriended is pretty solid, actually.
Ooh, Upgrade. That's an A tier movie, bro.
I'm gonna go C tier. I'm mixed. I think it's a little slow. Visually, there's some really cool stuff. I just felt like the world was missing some, like, building it out a little bit. It's missing some sauce for me, but I thought it was entertaining enough. And yeah, this is the guy who directed Adopt the Highway. Good, bro.
No, not directed, you idiot. Lee Winnell directed Upgrade.
No, this guy directed Adopt a Highway.
Okay.
Vertical Image sucks. It made Bill Paxton bad, and I don't like that. Frick it, it's bad. Frick it, move on. Waking Life. This movie's cool. Isn't there Richard Linklater? Such a visionary director. That's got to go S tier. It's one of the best animated movies I've ever seen. Really philosophical. Like, the whole movie's just talking to you, and it's all these crazy visuals. It's like spazzing out. I'm like, what the heck? Really beautiful, though. Really cool. That one made a huge impression on me. I like Waking Life a lot. Warrior, one of the most underrated movies ever made. That's going in A tier. I think I might prefer that slightly to Rocky. That's probably a hot take, but I thought Warrior was very compelling and very good. Very good. Next up is We Live in Time, the movie I was most hyped to see this year, probably. And it was probably it's like top 10 most disappointing this year. Even though it's B tier, I think it was good. It was a movie that did that thing where it's two different time periods and it's jumping between them. And I felt like the theme could have been so, like, I was so passionate about this movie. Like, I was talking about it a bunch when I saw it.
Bro, I even told you, I was like, don't have high.
I thought it could have been so good. I thought it was going to be like, we live in time. Time is like a limiting factor. So the theme should have, because this girl in the movie, I think it's even in the trailers, but in the movie she gets cancer, and I felt like the theme was like, it's right there in front of them. They should have taken it to where she maybe was like, because in, first part of the movie, she's kind of like, whatever, nonchalant about a lot of things. She doesn't really seem to care about a whole lot except like her career stuff and the cooking. And I felt like the theme should have been like, when she gets cancer, she only has a little bit of time left to live. They should have honed in on her change of like, wow, like I really want to make the most of my time that I have before that with my family. But then she kind of goes in this whole cooking competition thing, and that was cool, and I get what they're going for, but I felt like I had such a clear idea of what the theme was going into it, and yeah, it subverted my expectations, which in a way is cool, but I felt like it would have been an S-tier movie if it had just stuck on the lane that I really thought it was going for. But the performance was incredible, and I still thought it was a very cute movie, and I still like what it is, but I was just disappointed. So, B tier. Anyways, werewolves.
Oh, yeah.
This is a high C tier. I like werewolves a lot. Frank Grillo is great. I thought the visual effects were wild, really cool. But this movie's is pretty messy. There's definitely moments where if you look closely, you'll see like people just walking around in the background, when in a scene of like combat and werewolves attacking and stuff. Just like mistakes left in the movie. Apparently there's a boom mic in a scene as well, but I personally missed that. It just feels like it's kind of messy, but I still liked it. Still enjoyed it. Still enjoyed what it was.
Maybe it also helped that it was like 8 o'clock at night when we saw it in the
theater. Yeah, pretty late. And it was a Purge of Werewolves. Thoroughly liked it, but I was just maybe a little mixed on it. But the visuals really are really cool.
I feel like I do agree there was.
The girl boss moment was bad.
Yeah.
Girl boss was bad.
I will say though, if it's one of those movies that if it came out in the 80s, probably would be like a cult classic nowadays.
Probably. Next up is Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
I agree that everyone says it's a good movie, but it's like, if I want an Elm Street movie, I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah, I agree. Which means, for me, that's going C tier. It's just mixed. I mean, it's good.
I want to rewatch it, knowing that, like, crap, the script and story is actually good.
It's good. I just don't feel strongly about it.
Also,
I'd rather.
Is insanely cool.
It is insanely cool. I'd just rather watch a different Elm Street movie than this one.
I'd rather watch, like, the original or the second one.
What about Bob? This is a movie that our parents wanted to watch with us, and I liked it. It's a Bill Murray movie. It's very funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely going in the B tier.
Actually, it was kind of dark at the end.
Yeah, a little bit.
Literally loses his mind.
When Marnie was there is so close to S tier, but that's going to be
like top of A. Yeah. No, top A. No, never mind. Just forget what I was saying.
Yeah, that one's so good. Beautiful movie. This girl's really lonely, and she finds this friend in Marnie. And it's a movie where I was like, dang, everyone needs Marnie in their life. So that was a good one. That's the best Ghibli film not directed by Miyazaki or Takahata.
But we got hurry. Rain's coming, man.
Whiplash.
S tier.
This movie blew my mind. Easy S tier. One of the best movies ever made.
Especially that recent
all the characters are very unlikable, but that's the point. And it was very, very awesome. Directed too.
During the rewatch, Gunnar was like, man, the main character kind of sucks. And I was like, yeah, that's the point.
That's the point. Willy's Wonderland. I get it's going for like that cheesy bad movie, but
FNAF movie for the FNAF movie.
It's a high B tier. It's so funny. Nicolas Cage is so enjoyable in this movie. The visual effects are awesome.
I just know the gorilla in the bathroom scene.
Wings. This is the first movie to ever win Best Picture. It's a silent film. Easily B tier. Really good, actually. I actually enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the acting was good. I mean, it's a silent film. There's no dialogue, but I thought, their mannerisms and stuff are really well done. And we watched the Blu-ray version that had the visual, not the visual, we had the sound effects that were put into the movie, and I did feel like that made the movie better. It's really coming down.
Yeah, we got hurried, man.
We're almost done.
We got 4 more.
Winter Light. It's going in B tier.
Just watch First Reformed.
Just watch First Reformed. X. I'm mixed, but ultimately I'm gonna go C tier. I thought there was at least enough here to enjoy, but overall just not a movie for me. And then Your Monster, surprisingly well written and compelling. I understand what it's going for, and I liked it. It was entertaining and surprisingly funny and kind of dark by the end. It had a pretty dark ending, and I liked that quite a bit. Gosh dang, that's crazy.
Yo, we gotta hurry, bro.
Dang, bro, I think it's more than rain coming out there. Imagine this is like a video.
Like frogs or something?
Yeah, dude, it's like frogs coming down.
Oh, wait.
All right, guys, last one. Last one. Zombieland. Woo!
I've never seen it, so.
B tier. It's what Shaun of the Dead should have been.
Alright, well, if this video never makes it to the live day because of the storm.
if we never made it, this is why. Here's the list from top to bottom. From top to bottom.
So long.
From top to bottom. People, hang on.
Long.
265 movies. Oh, hey.